Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to TRS Live with your hosts Brian Keller, Matt Trotz, and Zach Huffman, presented by The Real Shot.
I'ma do this here forever.
EQ.
Forever.
Triune.
Forever.
Yeah.
Forever. I'ma do this here forever.
Let's go.
All you haters better get comfy. This the day you've been waiting on. Y'all road is finna get bumpy. This the track I'm making my statement on. I ain't going nowhere. This the place that I'm making home. I'll do this shit forever. Hit the gas and I'm taking off. Ow. I was born with passion. My job is never ending and my hustle's everlasting. No matter what, I'm gon' ball, even with my back to the wall. And the best part is that this is the beginning. I'ma do this here forever. Forever.
All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the show today. We are live in the studio, missing somebody who will be right back.
He's going for that dramatic entrance. No, he's just getting. I think he's just getting information on the striker sale. Striker sale. Did I say striker sale? He's still getting information.
Well, either way, he'll be in here in just a second. You can see him keep popping back in behind me every 10 seconds now.
He's a nervous creature.
So today,
He's a nervous
welcome
guy.
back.
Hey, see, I told him we were coming on for this dramatic entrance here. What's going on, Matt?
What's up?
What's going on, man?
Hey.
All right.
Happy to be here. Thanks.
Welcome
Thanks for
to
enjoying.
Monday.
Is it a Monday for? I was gonna
It's
say.
a Monday.
Is it a Monday?
It's
for anybody
raining
else?
and it's Monday.
It's raining. It's crappy. The roads are icy.
I literally almost slid into all the cars back there.
Yeah.
I just I just tapped my brakes and also I'm like, what is happening right now?
My
Yeah.
wife almost ran into like 3 cars.
Yep.
I don't know.
This
It just
weather.
feels
is
like Monday.
mess.
It feels
This
Monday.
bipolar Mother Nature right now, she's just got to get figured out.
I agree.
Can we get her some help?
We need to get her some
negative
help.
50
it's bad.
to 40
Right.
to rain.
To
Now they're
ice.
talking snow. Now they're talking highs of like 9 and 0 and
Not a fan. Can we just pick one and stay with it for just a week
I'm
or
probably
two?
gonna get pasted for this, but I've always said that's why they call it Mother Nature. Just gonna leave it at that.
I hope you get pasted for
I
that.
probably will.
Well,
okay.
when are you open up a real shot somewhere warmer? Can we just work there seasonally?
We'll head up that department.
Yeah.
We're heading to Florida.
Yeah, right.
So,
Then you gotta deal with hurricanes and stuff. That ain't any better, is it?
I guess. I mean, there's
Hurricanes are
there's
pretty
pros
all
and
right though. I mean,
cons.
as long as they're not horrible ones.
Hurricanes
like-
are not pretty all right.
Everybody, so I have a lot of family that lives down in Florida, and they're literally like, we get hurricanes, and that just means go to the store, buy a couple cases of beer. If the power goes out, we light some candles and party until it's over. And I'm like, that doesn't sound half bad.
No, right
Yeah,
now it doesn't.
or protect your house. I mean, buy beer or protect your house. Good
Why
morning.
not both?
I just want to say good morning, Mr. Malika. Get to work. He's watching us. Cool. No, but watch us as you work. Sell a bunch of insurance today. Hey, affiliate plans or programs going really well.
I'd say let's start off with that. A little bit of a slow start this morning with this Monday blues, but affiliate program. We have had a ton of people sign up and send in applications for the affiliate program. We got about 5 more, I think, just from last night alone that we're going to look over after the show. It's been pretty cool, though. We've brought on board a lot of people. I know a couple of my personal friends have signed up for it and a few other people that we know, and I think it's going to be a great program, honestly.
Well, and as of right now, we're pretty much full-fledged, and if you apply, we're going to accept you. I mean, obviously, depending on your skill set and all that.
Yeah, the program hasn't got deep enough yet where we're turning people away.
No,
so.
but yeah,
Right.
we got some pretty good candidates. I would tell you, and when you apply to that, the more detail, the better detail.
Right.
Like, I am going to compliment Tony. He did a great job. Like, he actually attached his names to his pages and all that kind of stuff. I mean, like,
When you say pages, you mean Facebook,
Instagram, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. It just makes our job easier because we do background check a little bit, like your social media stuff.
Right.
And if your name is Chad Johnson, well, you're about 1 million of you out there.
Right.
So it makes our job a little tougher to really tell who you really are. So more
Right.
details, like, I don't know, what do you call that, hyperlinks or whatever, where you can actually click on it.
If you can put a link in there, that'd be awesome. Otherwise, like I said, just Instagram with the Instagram username, Facebook username, and the name of your Facebook page or group.
Right.
I mean, it's pretty simple stuff, but it's just to help us be able to kind of not really, I don't want to say screen, but really it is. I mean, it's just help screen to make sure that, what you're posting is going to be an accurate and good representation of what we want our brand to be associated with. But
and the other affiliates will want that as well.
Right.
I mean, they don't want to be promoting a brand that's got some other guy, not earning his keep, kind of, so to speak.
Well, and those first couple guys that are set up, I mean, obviously it's in the baby steps right now. So,
Right.
I mean, we're looking for feedback as well. So if anybody that's signed up right now and is kind of going through it, let us know. Send us an email back, or, I don't know how they contact us. Is it just info, or whose real emails attached to that?
So there is I do believe there's a contact us
if
page.
you send congratulations, then they have yours, and then once I start sending them, they'll have mine. So let us know how it's going.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Morning, Russell.
Morning, Russell.
Oh yeah.
Where's he? Is he coming in here today?
I don't know if he's in today or not. I don't think he is.
I think he's on a break from shows.
He might be. I don't know. Yeah, he's probably trying to recover from his month of January. It was pretty hectic for him.
Obviously, FYI, we just talked about it. Drive safe. I mean, it's freaking raining, ice everywhere. Here in Wisconsin, if anybody's tuning out of state, either way, be safe if it's something like that. So, back on the affiliate just for a second though. Striker sale. You're really talking highly about Striker. Obviously, we all love it and wear it. 30% off right now.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I knew I was right.
30% off. So
that's awesome.
And that went in effect Friday?
Yes.
Or today?
Yeah. So they are making the changes to the website. We have to update the big sign out front, so put that on your checklist. But 30% off all remaining Striker. And just to remind everybody, ice fishing stuff is still on sale. So it's not 30% off all ice. It's 30% off Striker. But, I mean, there's all kinds of ice fishing stuff that's on sale. So right now with
Justin's getting nervous, so now's the time. He's going to start making us stuff go away.
with sturgeon spearing coming up, I mean, a real good time to get your hands on a camera for scouting. I think Panoptics are pretty much gone. Those went fast.
Well, I think once people started seeing, and guys like Justin talking about what this can actually do for you on the water, and it's expensive, but so is all the stuff we do. I mean, hunting and fishing is not cheap.
Right. Well, and you refer to that back to the Garmin site that you purchased. You look at that price tag, but if you buy a good site and you buy a rangefinder, you're
talking about the Garmin A1?
The Zero or
the
whatever.
Zero, yeah.
I mean, that price, that's an expensive price tag.
It's a $1,000 bow site.
Right. But then, like we talked about, you spend $300 on a site, you spend $300 to $400 on a rangefinder. Right there, you're at the introductory.
Well, if you've ever had that one hunt where you were at full draw and that deer decided to do something different, change directions, whatever, if you've ever had that one time where you couldn't bring it back down to re-range them, instantly that site becomes worth it.
You're going to want that. So that goes right back to the Panoptics. I mean, the Panoptics pretty much does everything you want. Plus, if you get the extra deucer, you can throw it on your boat. I mean, I was watching some YouTube stuff this morning before I left for work, and this one guy must have been playing with like the Panoptic side imaging for the first time, and all you hear is him going, "This is so sick. This is so sick." So I know Nick from up front used it this weekend at a trout tournament. I haven't heard how he did with it, and some other guys are using Markham cameras this weekend. So cool. But yeah, Striker's on sale. All ice fishing stuff's on sale. So come and buy a bunch of it right now. And then are we throwing out promo codes again?
Right now, today, we actually are going to just roll out our regular TRS Live. 10% off, whole store. Well, almost everything in the store.
Is this a one-time use or
nope,
during the show?
This is just TRS Live during the show, 10% off.
Perfect.
So. Oh, Tina's watching too.
Yeah,
hey, Tina.
Morning, Tina.
I'm trying to keep up with it. Hi, Megan Keller.
I was just reading Nick's comment. I think that's awesome because it's exactly what we're talking about today, Nick.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
Wait a minute. Russell, 60 degrees in Ohio.
Jeez Louise. So anyway, Super Bowl.
Super
Everybody watches
Bowl.
the Super Bowl. Not everybody, but
super boring.
It's kind of a big deal in the society.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
It's like the biggest sporting event of the year.
Right.
Easily.
You get together to watch it just for something to do on a random Sunday, right?
Right.
I mean, that's just kind of what we do, but.
Especially when your team's not in it. You just kind of, I'll watch it. But
I was personally pulling for the Rams. Not that I'm
me too.
against Tom Brady, but I like underdogs. I
Yes.
like to see the up-and-coming team kind of take over.
Right.
what is now got to be the best franchise in all of sports history. It's got to be up there, right?
Oh, man.
I mean, you don't have to like Tom Brady. You don't have to like Bill Belichick, but you have to respect what they've accomplished.
Oh,
right.
And like when I was watching a game last night, I mean, now they're at maybe up to the point they were like nobodies, but what's that receiver?
Edelman.
Oh, he's a workhorse.
Yeah, he's amazing.
I mean, that guy is like, yeah, obviously he's really popular, but he's not like a Ocho Cinco or something like that.
Right.
But
he's 5'10", 180.
Yeah.
He's not even a big dude.
No.
He's just an average dude. He's smart.
I know he ended up with MVP, but what did he have for like stats for that game? Last I heard, he was at like 7 catches for 110
If it was
yards.
a Packer game, I could have told you to the T what everybody's stats were. Last night, I was just watching it for the commercials, and I'm just sitting there can something spectacular happen in this game? No.
I think my favorite part was like the whole first half of the game was just absolute drag. That's all it was. It was an absolute drag.
I think
it was
the Rams at one point had 8 punts in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like a bad
ridiculous.
preseason game.
Such a high-scoring game, a team that can put a lot of points on the board. I don't. They just were out of rhythm. Or
I think either that, or I think they all just played so well against each other that they just couldn't make moves on each other.
Here's my thing with the Patriots: is they are from top down the best run organization in sports.
Yep.
Right, Kraft all the way down through. They are. You don't have to like Belichick, but he's a genius. He's an evil football genius.
Yep.
And I think as a whole, position versus position across the board, they are just smarter than you. Tom Brady, Edelman, I coached football for 10 years, high school football, right? They are just smarter than you are. It isn't scheme necessarily, and Belichick said that at the end of the game. It's not necessarily his scheme because they asked him, well, what did you do to shut down that powerful offense? He basically said the players make the plays, and he's right.
Yep.
It's not a scheme. It's their team as a whole is just smarter.
Yep.
Right? I mean, they run that same little drag with Edelman across the middle.
Every single play.
Every series, he's doing the same thing.
Yep.
They got somebody leaking in the backfield, right? Brady's just smart enough. I'm just going to keep hitting that. I'm going to keep hitting that. I'm going to keep hitting that. Eventually, you're going to have to come up or we're going to eat you alive for 6 or 7 yards of play.
Every play.
And eventually, the safeties, everyone starts creeping up, and guess who's wide open in the middle of the field? I mean, it's not rocket science how to beat them, but this is the good thing with Brady is he's so smart at taking what the defense gives him that he will not force it.
No.
He'll take it, and he'll take it. And you can see like Rodgers, right? Rodgers gets antsy, and he wants to throw the long ball. Like, he won't take that dump off. There's been numerous times where you'll see the guy in the flats or the fullback or whatever came out in the backfield. He's in the middle of the field. There's nobody within 20 yards. Oh, where's Adams? I'm chucking it. Right? Like, you could see that, and some of that you can't blame on the offensive coordinator. That's the guy's pulling the trigger, right? Like, he's got to be the one pulling the trigger.
You put him in charge for a reason.
Brady doesn't do that.
No.
Brady takes what's given to him over and over and
it's just
over
grind.
again.
Just imagine being a defense on that and just the frustration. I mean, they talked about it for a couple different times. Like, they double team that Edelman, and he was still getting open.
His route running is amazing.
It's phenomenal. Enough about that guy. But anyways,
the one throw that Brady made to Gronk. Right before they scored.
Beautiful.
If you watch that, the angle they showed that from behind the quarterback, he threw that basically in a triple coverage.
Yep.
He threw him open. It was an awesome throw. It was an absolutely awesome throw.
Yep.
There's 3 guys I know of that can make that throw. Him being one, Rodgers probably being the other one, and Breeze, and there's a couple others, but that's a phenomenal throw.
He threw it to the only opening that was there, and he just trusted that Gronk was going to get there.
That is such a good throw.
And that guy's a freaking beast, too. Gronk is amazing.
Yeah, Gronk is an absolute
he's
unit.
a freak. He's 6'7", 270. He's a left guard.
Yeah.
I mean,
but with hands. And that play, too, comes in my mind is where he locked up like it was a blocking play, and then he slipped right out, and there's who's going to catch him?
But that's my point. That's them being smarter.
Yep.
They're just smarter than everybody else. They play the game better than everybody, and that's why they keep winning.
And mind you, we're all Packer fans.
Oh, I'm a Packer fan.
That was the game. That was last night's game. And I think
we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about football on the show.
No, but
it's the Super Bowl.
It's current right now. Right. It's the latest trend. But like, as Packer fans, we are like, with Rodgers, why do we not have more than what we have for Super Bowls right now?
I think that's always been my biggest argument with the Packers organization is that they want to talk about the last 60 years of history.
Right.
Well, I look at it that you've had 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks back to back. 20 years of Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and you've got two championships.
Two Super Bowls.
Right? That's a joke.
Yeah.
It really is. I'm not blaming the players. That's an organizational joke.
Think about that frustration if
Life's
you're
about
Brett
winning,
Favre
right?
or Aaron Rodgers, and you're like, Give me some players.
Right.
No, but here's the negative. My only beef against that is that you look at the guys. Name 5 guys off of
That's
Brady's
true.
roster
That's
other
true.
than Edelman.
That's true.
I mean, I can name a couple,
Right,
obviously
right.
last night, but
Yeah.
you couldn't name 5 guys off their defense, probably.
No.
Right?
No.
So some of that, I don't like Tom Brady just because he's maybe so good. It's hard to like him, but
Right.
he's the GOAT. There's no question
I
about
think
it.
it just gets
is.
old. I
Well,
mean, it's
part of
just like
that-
you just see him. It's like once you're successful so many times. Like, I mean, I had to laugh. So on the topic of the Super Bowl and commercials earlier was the Super Bowl, like the 100 years of NFL commercial, and at the towards the end when Tom Brady tells him he has to go up and throw, and all of a sudden he pulls up his hand and he's got all 5 of his Super Bowl rings.
nice.
He's like, "Oh, behold these!" I died.
Yeah.
I laughed so hard at that because that is just the biggest flex you could have ever.
He is.
And
Are
he
we-
did
are
it.
we still, my phone just cut out.
Yeah, it does that once in a while.
Oh, okay.
He is the best ever. There's no question about it. You don't have to like the guy, but whatever. You know what I mean? The dude wakes up in the morning and he pisses excellence.
Yeah.
That's what he
Yeah.
does. He just does.
and the part that I think is frustrating for Packer fans is we have a Tom Brady.
Oh, I know.
We have a
We
Tom
just don't
Brady.
have anything else right
But
now.
here's my big knock on Rodgers. Is Rodgers has got an ego, and it's starting to get worse. My opinion.
Yep.
It's starting to get worse.
It's opinion
You
show.
don't see that from Brady, right? Tom Brady, in all due respect, is he is the show, right?
Yep.
And if you watch the post right after the show, he's up there with his kids and he's talking or whatever, and he couldn't get off the stage fast enough to give Edelman the mic.
The mic.
Because
Yep.
Edelman was obviously the MVP. Brady could not get off the stage fast enough. You could see he was like, "I'm out. It's his show. Let him have it." And I
Well,
thought that was
right.
awesome.
Even right after the game too, there was huddles and huddles of press, and that guy is like, "Get out of my way! I want to shake hands with everybody that helped me
Right.
get here."
Yep.
And not too many people
Right.
you would see would do that. He's his top.
So
Well,
I-
you could hear it in the microphone too. He was getting pissed,
Oh,
because
yeah.
people were crowding me. He's like, "No, seriously, stop!
Yeah,
move
yeah,
and get
yeah.
out of the way. I'm done. Leave."
Yep.
And I listened to that and I heard some of the stuff that he was saying. I'm like, "Geez, he really is not about this right now."
I think he's a better person. I think he's a better leader than Rodgers.
I
don't
feel like
think
he's
Rodgers,
humble. I think as much as everybody else hypes Tom Brady up, I think he's a little bit more humble because
Yep.
you see it in Aaron Rodgers is a great guy. He seems like a cool guy,
How
right?
can you not? I mean,
But,
look what he's got to go home to, and look at his paychecks, and he's like, "Yeah, I just got a
it's
good.
cool.
My life is a little better than yours,
He's
but
like
it's
Captain.
okay."
He's like Captain America. He
Right.
literally is.
Right. But then you look at Rodgers, and then Rodgers just has an attitude, and then you hear it from the coaches that he's always going against their word and everything.
Yep.
And it's just like at the end of the day, it could possibly be that ego is what's holding the Packers
See,
back.
and I think that I'm a huge Favre fan. You're a Favre
Oh,
fan. I
man.
mean,
Yep.
To the end.
I got the Favre fan on my wall. I mean, right?
Yeah.
I love the Packers. I think Rodgers is a great quarterback, but that's the piece that Favre had that Rodgers doesn't have.
Yep.
Is Favre was that guy that if you were charging into something, you were going to be behind that guy.
Yep,
Like,
Yep.
you know what I mean? If Favre took the charge,
you were behind
the
him.
whole team got behind him.
Yep.
It didn't matter if he was throwing picks all over the place or whatever.
Yep.
That was why Favre had such an appeal to the masses,
Right.
was because he had that leadership quality.
Yep.
But I also don't think Favre ever went into a press conference and downed on his own team as much as Aaron Rodgers did last year.
That's my point. No, that's my point. Though.
Right, exactly.
But I think everybody got behind him because they know it. Hey, if it comes down to it, Favre's got my back.
Right.
Favre's got it. Yeah.
I don't think that everybody in the locker room has that same feeling with Rodgers. I think that from a talent standpoint, arm, legs, the whole thing, Rodgers is phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
I just don't think he's got it.
Right.
Like he doesn't have that it that
Right.
guys like Brady have and guys like Favre
He's missing
had.
the mojo.
He doesn't have the.
Someone stole his mojo.
You know, it's you know what I mean. Not to be a battle, but football. I mean, like I said, I coached football for a long time, and a lot of guys played high school sports. You get in that huddle, right? You get in that huddle. It's us 11 guys versus those 11 guys, and who's going to survive this?
Right.
Right.
I mean, it's a brutal sport.
Right.
Yep.
You know, the NFL's trying to make it not so brutal, but it's a brutal sport.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's what makes it so great. Is that you band together and that's the whole thing about football. That's what I hope my son gets out of playing high school football
Yep.
is that camaraderie with your brothers more or less.
Yep.
And getting something accomplished, which is working in a team. It's no different than what we do here.
Right.
Right.
But that's what football is meant to teach you.
Yep.
And I think that's the unfortunate part about professional sports. It becomes about money and ego and all these other
Yep.
things. But I think certain guys throughout the course of history in the NFL have not lost that. You know what I mean? The Jerry
Right.
Rices of the world
Yeah.
and the Joe Montanas and the Tom Bradys and the Favre. They never lost that camaraderie with the brotherhood type of feel. And I
Yep.
think some of these, the Ocho Cincos and those guys, some of those guys have it's more about me and what can I get out of it,
Right. And I agree with what Cody here says when
Yeah.
Rodgers
Same.
needs to take a pay
Cody,
cut. Well, I look at it that we give him this giant record bonus and signing contract and everything, and then suddenly now he just plays a very awful year. The team falls apart. Nothing works out.
It always happens.
every time.
Always. Every time somebody
Well,
takes such a huge pay raise,
Yeah.
it always. Well, think about it. I mean, everybody in the locker room knows Rodgers is the guy,
Yep.
right? They all know it. They expect him to get paid more or whatever. But how do you think the receivers feel and the running backs feel and the O-line guys
Think about
feel?
that's
I
what
mean-
Jared said. He said Brady has an O-line. I mean, we have a solid O-line, but like you said,
Right.
But it just felt this year there was a disconnect.
Right.
You
Oh,
could
big time.
just by
Hey.
watching, you could feel
Well,
that
and I
there was
think a
just
lot
this
of that was,
major
I
disconnect.
think, Rodgers was doing what he could, in my opinion,
Yeah.
to get rid of McCarthy.
Oh,
I really believe that. I would hate from a guy standpoint, just like who does that kind of thing, right? But
Right.
it just doesn't. McCarthy lost the locker room.
Right.
They were done playing for him. I'm not going to put it all on Rodgers. I think as a whole, they were done with McCarthy's crap.
right.
And if you listen to his press conferences, he's been saying the same thing for 10 years.
Right.
Right.
After a while, you're just like, all right,
All
whatever.
right.
What
And
do
you know
got?
what? The guy we pulled in, he's a lot younger. He looks like he's got some more like Mike McCarthy looks like the sideline coach that hangs out at the bar every night after the game instead of with the guys, right?
Right.
And I feel like the guy they brought in reminds me of that high school gym teacher that took everything a little too seriously.
Oh,
He reminds me of that guy, and that's good though because
Well,
that's
but
what's going to bring the
everybody's
results.
after the next McVay, right?
Right.
Like they're after. I heard one of the Colin Coward, one of those guys, was like anybody who's had a cup of coffee with McVay is like hot.
Oh,
because
yeah.
that guy is. I mean, the Rams are in good shape, right? I think the game was a little bit bigger than Goff was ready for.
Yep.
I
Right.
think that whatever the running back's name was. What's the running back's name?
yeah.
Gurley.
Gurley.
I think Gurley's still a little nicked up. He's not healthy. But then again, it just came back to Belichick's team just smarter, and they made him look like he was a young quarterback.
Yep.
So now, real quick, so for me, being like an in and out football fan, so Goff, how long has he been playing as
Second
a?
Second or third year.
Okay, because I was gonna say when I saw the highlights and everything, he looked like a high schooler compared to everybody
He
else.
is.
Well,
Brady's
and-
40. Brady could be his uncle. For
Oh
Christ's
yeah,
sake.
and I noticed that too. There was like when they would do the cuts to him on the bench, all he just was looking up at the jumbotron.
Who, Goff?
Yeah,
He
he
was
looked
in awe.
starstruck. He just looked
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
he was like,
And he played
Oh
like
my
that.
God, yeah.
He showed some signs later in the game, but like when he missed that touchdown throw, because he was late on that throw.
oh yeah, that was the guy was
the
wide
guy was
open.
wide open. Now
The defensive back made a great play,
Oh,
but that ball hung in the air
that
a little
dude came
bit.
out of nowhere, but
Yeah.
that was like a 10-step drop off a play action or whatever.
I did notice that he
that
takes
ball,
some deep drops.
That ball needed to come. Well, see, the Patriots did such a great job of shutting down the run.
Yep.
It took the Rams play action game away. The Rams are not a shotgun team; they're a
Right.
play action team. Well, as soon as Goff got out of that rhythm, you could see it.
Well,
right? He was so late on that throw. That was an easy touchdown. He was so late on that throw.
Cody
I like
says
that,
Goff
yep.
was in kindergarten with
Why?
Brady. Yeah.
Well, they did that the 10-year challenge or whatever, the
Yeah,
17-year
yes, that's-
challenge.
Well, it's
and
true.
It was
I
just
mean,
a small child.
You know, and Goff was. You could see that he was.
Yep.
The moment was too big for him. I think they've got a great. I don't know how their team's structured from a who's coming back next year, all that type of stuff.
Right.
But that coach they've got, he's the real deal.
Yeah.
He's
Right.
gonna be the next generation of coach.
Right.
I mean, he's 33 years younger than Belichick. Yeah. I mean, he's 30. He just turned 33. Belichick 66.
And then now all of a sudden you get to the Super Bowl. Yeah, you don't win it, but look at the
Right.
experience everybody on that team gained. Now
Right.
it's like when Atlanta last year just
Yep.
laid that giant goose egg. Now they're not there
See,
this
this
year.
was my thing with the Packers that I never understood is why McCarthy was butting heads with Rodgers. I didn't
Right.
understand
Right.
that.
I feel like they had a philosophy difference because Aaron Rodgers is a lot more new school and Mike McCarthy's very old. And like how Adam says in here about agreeing with us about Rodgers pushing him out is I'm curious to see the talent change for 2020. Or I should say 2019.
Right.
The talent change there, and then also seeing the composure difference because this last year, so I would switch channels just because I would get curious for the other teams. And the one thing I noticed in the last probably 2 or 3 years is the Packers lost composure. They would, whenever they're making a run or whenever they're making
They're waiting
throws
for
and
McCarthy
everything.
to do something stupid.
Right, but like if you just watch their body language on the field, I mean, when you watch the Denver football Broncos playing, those guys look like professionals,
Yeah.
and our team look like guys playing football in their backyard.
Well, and what I like, I mean, obviously, I don't watch a lot of football during the fall because I'm usually in the deer stand.
Right.
But it's like, you know,
I listen to a lot of football.
Oh, yeah. Well, I
Just say you don't watch it in the deer stand?
Yeah. I'm excited about the fact that there's a lot of teams that haven't been there for a while. Like, I'm sure I'm just like everybody else. Like, somebody on here commented the Saints got, you know, they got a tough call.
And they did.
And they
that
really
was
did.
maybe the worst call next to the Fail Mary.
But I'm sure I
of
was
all
just
time.
like everybody else. I was rooting for Casey and the Saints to go. You know,
Right.
obviously.
I wanted Breeze to make it.
Yeah,
another
Breeze,
one.
he's an all-American type guy, you know. And I was just that Mahoney or whatever.
Mahomes,
Yeah.
He's
Mahomes.
legit.
That dude, I love his no-look passes that guy does. That's phenomenal stuff. And it makes football exciting again.
Right.
With
Yeah,
all
I
the
agree.
rules and regulations that everybody watches every single week. And it's like, you know, as soon as the first, 3 games of the year, we got screwed by Matthews.
Yep.
You know,
Right.
after that, I think a lot of the air was let out of everything.
I think it's just an adjustment period. You know, with any sports and major changes to anything, I mean, there's just going to be that little bit of turmoil where it's like, hey, we have to change the way we're doing things. But once we
see,
get
the
there,
problem was they didn't change the rules. They went back to the old rules after it
Right.
was so blatantly terrible with Matthews.
Yes.
They
Right.
went back to all of a sudden now it's okay to hit people again a little bit.
Yeah.
Right?
right.
I get it. Like, don't come at the guy's
Right.
knees.
But
Or
I mean,
don't
they were
slam
really-
him.
they were
Even last
really
night
going
on
overboard.
The one on Goff where Goff was literally running out of bounds.
Oh, yeah.
And the guy lays him out and the officials instantly, he was still in bounds. That was a bunch of crap.
Right.
If that would have been week 1, that flag would have been flying from 3 different
Right,
areas because
right.
he got hit hard.
Okay, now there was a play. I forgot. It was early. I think it was early in the game. I don't remember completely, but Goff threw the ball. It was almost to the receiver, and that's when the defensive lineman came up, grabbed him, and threw him on the ground. Like when
right.
there was nothing, there was not even a ball near him.
I'm all about letting him play football.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Let him hit.
The first 2-3 weeks of the season, I mean, when you've got your head up, shoulder into his chest, I mean, that's football, right?
That's
if we
a tackle.
Can't, if we can't do that,
Yeah.
Right.
then let's just switch
we-
sports. and
switch it
let's-
up to, like,
let's
the
play
Pro Bowl.
rugby or something.
Well, that
right?
was like
that's
the
football.
the Pro Bowl was an absolute
two-hand
joke.
touch. Honestly,
it's
as soon as they
terrible.
would wrap the
Like-
guy up, whistle.
But
I
you
get
can't
it.
you can't even blame them though, because for the players that were going in to the Super Bowl,
Well, right,
like
but
we
they
got to
don't
protect
even
those
play
guys.
a game.
Don't
Just
even-
Right.
have the skills competitions.
Yes.
How
I would
fast
rather
are you?
watch that.
Oh yeah.
It's
How
like the
fast are you?
combine all
How
over
many
again.
crazy throws can you make? All
Yep.
that stuff. That's
Yep.
cool.
Just do that.
That's what it should be.
Nobody-
Just like Major League Baseball. Like I think Major League Baseball having the outcome of the game dictate who gets home field in the World Series
That's
is
right.
ridiculous.
It makes
That's stupid. Don't
Oh,
even
you
play
think
the
so?
game.
I
I
think-
do. I don't like it.
But it makes it worth a little more entertaining.
Well, I know, but I don't want the Cubs to be the reason why the Brewers don't have home field. That's ridiculous.
I
Some
guess
loser from the
again,
Cubs.
like
Not to say
I'm
they
turkey hunting during the spring and fishing.
No, but not
I-
to say that they would do it on purpose, but I just don't think that outcome should be based on, or a team season shouldn't be because of a Pro Bowl type atmosphere.
Right.
I would rather see the All-Star games just be skills competitions.
Right.
How far can this dude hit a baseball? Let's do that.
Let's bring
Like,
steroids
Right.
back. I mean, come on.
well, it
Seriously.
did make baseball fun.
It
Right?
did.
Right.
I listen to that. I don't listen to a lot of sports talk or anything like that, but I mean, once in a while I hear, I listen to Bob and Tom on my way
All
to
right.
work. I love
Right.
that.
Yep.
Hopefully we get to that status, but like they're talking about like the Bonds here and the McGuire and Associate here. That was fun. Baseball was fun. I mean, yeah, hit it 590 feet, lob it out of the park and land it in that lake or that stream over there. It's just whatever. But yeah, I hope it changes for the better here, and we got an awesome 2019 season coming up for all kinds of sports. But
Oh, I think so. I'm excited.
the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's gonna be-
I was busy. I made. We wanted to hit on what we all did this weekend.
Just Nate,
Oh.
Sarcastaball from South Park.
Oh.
With the
I was
the
looking at you,
episode.
I'm like, what is he talking
Yeah,
about?
The
Is that
Sarcastaball.
a
There was
meme or
there was that
something?
episode where what was it? Randy Marsh is being extremely overly sarcastic back when they started first making all these crazy rule changes
Oh,
in
okay.
football. And he's like, yeah, you know what we should do in high schools? All the kids should just play with a balloon, and all of the people that don't have the balloon just need to hug each other while we get touchdowns. And then everyone agrees with him, and it goes all the way to the NFL, and it's just the greatest thing ever. If you haven't seen it, watch Sarcastaball, South
Right.
Park
I'll have to
episode.
check that out.
That episode is fantastic.
Okay, so we're going to get into the MLF stuff in a second.
Yeah,
Because I agree with whoever said that comment before.
it was more entertaining.
That
For
was
what?
Sunday was awesome. If you're an efficient, Sunday was awesome. So
I'm gonna have to
you
watch
had some
that.
stuff. What were you working on this weekend?
So I had basketball Saturday, and then my Sunday was I slept in a little bit, but I just wanted to product promo right here. I don't know where it's got to be, Zach, for that to get seen, but I use this bad boy all for mostly. I've been grinding meat. I've had about 40 pounds of venison trim that I had to get done, but I was using this Weston grinder this weekend. This thing was awesome.
Were you grinding it frozen or semi-frozen?
Semi-frozen. Some was mostly unthawed.
How did the motor keep up?
Awesome.
Was it good?
Great. And a lot of it comes back to, like, I made my boys do some of the trimming. It's good. They had off school a couple days.
Absolutely.
Get your butt in there. You want it. I broke it down for them real simple. You want to eat it? You got to help me trim it and clean it. It's just that easy. But
that was always a big thing for my oldest son when he was kind of coming into hunting. It was when they're little. It's like, Dad, shoot that, shoot it. It's like, okay, well, first of all, we shoot based on management criteria on my property.
Yep.
And second of all, there's all the work that goes into it after, right?
Right.
Like you got a family, right? You go hunting. It's not always conducive to shoot it right now if you don't have 4 hours of time to put into it.
That's
right?
why I don't hardly shoot a deer on a Sunday.
Right.
Or if I do shoot it, I like to.
But it's got to be the one.
Right.
You're going to put the time in if it's the one.
Oh, I don't know. I have a hard time passing up any doe. Obviously, like that Facebook. I have a hard time, man. It could be November 7th.
Now, on a Sunday, though, you do it even no matter what?
Well, so I was just going to say, like, I've gotten back into, when I was living here in Appleton, living in the city, I didn't do as many processing my deer anymore just because I didn't have the space as I did when I was living in the country. Now that I'm back in the country, I'm starting to take that over. But I have a really good processor over by Waiwiga where he's very reasonable. And the nice thing, too, is, like, I can drop my deer off there when they're not open. And all you do is fill out a card and go.
Oh, wow,
so my
that's
son.
awesome.
So you asked about a Sunday. If I do pull the trigger, which I try not to on a Sunday, but if I do pull the trigger, I take it there, and I trust that guy. Little River Meats, little shout out for those guys right there. But on a Sunday, I drop it off in the cooler. Unless the weather is appropriate, then I can hang it and then I can do it. But now, and once the weather gets cooler, then I'll start doing my on my own.
Yeah, so I do all mine 100% myself. So if it's not one of the couple I'm going after,
yep,
I almost don't even hunt. No, I hunt just because I like to be in the woods.
Yes.
You never know.
Yep.
I mean, the more time you put in the woods or on the lake or whatever, your odds increase, right?
Right.
But
and that's like Zach, or not Zach. Lance and I were talking about this morning about. I thought I read someplace that there was a proposal to drop the panfish limit from 25 to 15. I think
there's all sorts of proposals out there right now about regulation changes and stuff.
You think about it, like, I get it. If you're gonna eat it, keep it. Just make sure you. But after like cleaning 12 fish, I don't care what they are, dude. That's just a lot of fish.
That's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work. And as soon as you catch it or shoot it, that's when the work really starts.
Well, one of the big rule changes that we could have a whole show on is they're talking about taking Winnebago system from 5 walleyes down to 3.
Right.
That's going to infuriate some people, and it's going to make some people really happy. So it just depends on what your objective or outlooks or whatever. I try not to get into too much of that. If people would like to see us talk about some more of that kind of stuff, we could definitely get some people in here.
Definitely.
I know Justin's amped for that conversation.
Well, I've got a really good friend of mine that's on the Conservation Congress. I played football with him actually in high school and whatever, and he'd love to be on here and talk about some of these rule changes. And another one too is all the crossbow stuff, right? Like, I was talking to Mark this morning about how they're going after crossbows again and seasons and lengths, and I mean that's a whole wormhole conversation in itself. But
it comes down to just make a rule and stick with it.
Why?
I know you gotta evolve.
Well, part of it's today's society, though, right? Everybody feels like they're entitled to their opinion, and they are.
Right.
But they all feel like their opinion is meant to be heard more than everybody else's.
Right.
Which I don't agree with that part. I think everybody needs an opinion.
Yep.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but your opinion isn't worth any more than my opinion.
Nope.
Right.
If I want my opinion to stick, then I should be adult enough to get you to understand my opinion
and
to change your opinion.
Come with the facts and
not just
all that kind of stuff.
Scream and holler about why I'm right.
And that is one of the bugaboos about social media.
I agree.
It created that problem.
It really
in my opinion, it gave a lot of people a platform. Like
gave
for me,
everybody a voice.
I'm a social media wizard, and I look at that and I just see it gave everybody a voice, and whether or not everybody deserves to have a voice.
Yep,
everybody deserves to have that opinion, but it's just how are you going to use it? It's a great power with great responsibility.
I was just going to quote Spider-Man.
Well, and to each their own. I mean, so anyways, I ground up a lot of jerky. It was a lot of fun. We got jerky, but
you don't want to go down that road, huh?
No, I do want to go down that road because I like the fact that I like to manage deer to a point.
Yep.
You know, but again, 100%, they're not your animal. It's not like raising beef cattle. You
Right.
know,
Correct.
you can't grow them or raising deer.
Yeah, unless you have thousands of acres.
Yep.
You're sharing those deer.
But I
Absolutely.
also like the thought process of if it makes you happy, pull the trigger. You know,
Right.
I sold a bow to a gentleman earlier this year or last year, and you know, we were talking to trail camp pictures, and he goes to, I think it was South Dakota.
Okay.
And he was showing me some of these bucks. He goes, "Would you shoot this buck?" I'm like, "Oh, 100%." And he goes, "Really?" And I broke it down for this. I said, "You know what? If you truly want to, you can make something a first." And
Yeah.
he looks at me like, "What do you mean?" I go, "You bought this bow tech from me. That could be the first deer you killed with this new bow tech. Make
Right.
it a first." You know, and you think about it. This is the first deer I actually rattled in. This is the first turkey that I called in.
It's the first deer on a Tuesday in
First,
January.
yeah.
Right.
Make,
I mean, right?
but then again, like, you know, is that an excuse to shoot a deer that maybe you wouldn't shoot?
But
the
why
next
is it? Why
day?
do you need an excuse? That's my thing with
Yeah.
social media is everybody's got to deal with their own shit, right?
Yep.
Right.
So if it's a trophy to you or it fits whatever your objective is, who cares?
Right.
And that's
Right.
what the social media thing is ruined for a lot of
Right.
hunters is, oh, I can't post on the Wisconsin Rut page because, you know,
Right.
everyone's going to make fun of me or whatever. Who cares what anybody else thinks?
Hammer
I think it's the
down
most
this way.
annoying thing in the world too. You know what I mean? Because like for me is, you know, I look at all the fishing pages and it's just like, you know, at the end of the day, no matter what side of the fence you're on, especially with catch and release versus feeder fishing,
Yep.
was if you post a 26, 27-inch walleye that you ate, people are going to be mad at you.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, I mean, it's your limit. It's your fish. You make that decision.
Do whatever. Yep.
You know, same
That's-
with deer hunting, same with
That's the
everything.
biggest thing I think deterring more people from getting into hunting is, well, I don't have the access to that property,
Yep.
or I don't have those kind of deer in
Right.
my neck of the woods, or I don't, you know, because deer hunting is different than fishing, right?
Right.
Like if you want trophy smallmouth, you go to the Bay, you know, you go up to Sturgeon Bay.
Yep.
Right? And it's public water. Everybody's got access to it. If you
Yep.
want to shoot a monster deer, well, not
Right.
everybody has access to that.
But at the same time, so at the end of the day, I think this comes down to the current state of our generation is people want instant gratification. Well, if I can't walk onto this property and kill a monster buck in a day,
Then
I don't want to go.
I don't want to
Right.
do it.
And then at the end of the day, you go, so what are you really hunting for then?
Right.
Are you
I
really
agree.
into
And
it?
like in your and I situation, we both have boys that are coming up that are, you know, in that age of hunting. And like for me, I'm not a real big fan of like, it's a double-edged sword, but like you don't shoot a 4-pointer because he's not an 8-pointer. Well, I shot a half-rack 8-pointer. Was my first buck. A lot of people shot spikers or whatever. Shoot it.
Yep.
Get a couple
The
under your
worst thing
belt.
you can do with a young kid is not let them get a couple under their belt, like
Yeah.
you said.
Yep.
That's what creates that primitive, like, oh, I did that.
Yep.
And then you cleaned it, and then you gut it, and guess what? Now you're eating it.
Now you're eating it.
And it's like, I provided. I did this.
And
That's-
it goes right back to what you were saying about the first for everything. Because I equate it to, you know, I have a lot of antler mounts from my family because they don't know. Nobody's a hunter anymore in my family, right?
Right.
So I have all of their stuff, and I use it as decoration. Well, my oldest late brother, his first buck ever was a little forkhorn. And I have it hanging on my wall in my man cave. And people always ask me, like, why is that mounted? I'm like, well, I mean, if you really want to know, it's my brother's first buck. And I mean, if you're a 14-year-old kid, it's your first time out gun hunting or whatever, and you see that little forkhorn and you've been out 4 days in a row and you haven't killed anything, take the deer. It's your first deer.
Absolutely.
That's it.
and just like anything else, then work to get better
But
from
see,
there.
that's what I was just going to say. With my oldest son, it's okay. We got a bunch under our belt now. We're kind of learning a little bit more. He's 15 now. What's better about this deer than last year, right? You shot a 2-year-old. Okay, shoot a 3-year-old. I don't care how big the antlers are.
Yeah.
I like to hunt more on age of the animal versus the rack. That's just me though. If you don't have the ability to hunt 4-year-old deer, I mean, you're never going to see one.
You got to be. You have to be. The biggest misconception about quality deer management is unrealistic goals.
Agreed.
You know, so if your property is only going to have, let's just say a 3-year-old or a 15-inch 8-pointer, and that's the biggest deer your property can have or you're going to see, well, then that's a good shooter for you.
Yep.
Now, if you have circumstances where you have, X amount of acres and you have the ability to keep those deer on your
feed
property,
them and keep them around. Yep.
Now you shot that 3-year-old last year, that 15-inch 8-pointer, work a little bit better.
Yep.
But then every year I haven't shot a buck with my bow. Now I've shot at, I've missed a couple and whatever else, but I haven't shot a buck with my bow in probably, I think it's going on 5 years. And now when you get like a 2-year-old 8-pointer walk by you, or
get a little twitchy.
You get a little twitchy, but then again, you're like, is it just going to end up under the workbench, in that kind of situation? Right. Well, then I look at it, if I'm going to shoot that next doe, then I see, because at the point, I'd like to see that deer make it through.
As long as I always tell my son, as long as it means something to you.
Yep.
Not just so you can put a picture on Instagram.
Right.
Because that's not, if you're only doing it to put pictures on Instagram, that's not the reason.
Nope.
That's not even the reason to hunt at all.
No.
Exactly.
Same thing with you, right? When that next buck walks out, it's been 5 years. When the right one walks out, there's no questions anymore. It just is.
It just is.
Because like my dad's not the world's biggest hunter, but he hunts. I think it's more to hang out with the grandkids now and whatever, which is awesome. He's gotten to sit, and I think it's fantastic. He's gotten to sit with my oldest son and now my youngest son. He's going to spend some time in the stand. I mean, those are things I never got to do with my grandpa. So I think it's awesome that he's able to do that, but he's always worried about me and, are you going to get mad if I shoot this deer? I'm like, Dad, if you think it's good for you and you're going to be happy with it and you don't care what I say, then shoot it. Right? So who cares?
I lose a lot of respect for people or hunters when you shoot a buck and then you're like, hey, man, congratulations. And you walk up to that deer, and then the first words out of their mouth is, I should have never shot that deer.
Yeah, well.
I just ultimately, then you're not doing it for the right reasons.
I agree.
Right.
If you can't be proud of that deer, then why are you even doing it?
I agree.
See, I look at hunting a little bit differently. I look at, I don't want to be that guy, but being a millennial and a little bit more introspective is, you're taking an animal, right?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you are taking a life off of the planet.
Yep.
Excuse me. But when you do
get a
that,
little choked up.
man, I'm about to come tearing up, man. I get
really
really emotional when I talk about deer.
Millennials.
I talk to them in the woods, before I shoot them. No.
Yeah.
But no, what I was saying though is like once you take that that animal and you harvest that animal, it's a matter of, okay, now you're locked in. You did this, it's over, and this is your animal, and you are going to now feed yourself or someone's family
if you're not proud of it,
with that animal.
Right.
And I don't want people to think that we're only sitting here talking about antlers, right? If your 100% goal is to hunt to feed your family, that is just as important, maybe more important than hunting for antlers.
Yep. Absolutely.
It just is.
Right.
I don't.
At the end of the day, that's the point.
Everybody's got to have their own objective.
Fishing,
just have an objective.
If you're literally catching fish to feed everybody, I don't have no problems with that. But just do it within the law.
Right.
I mean, you don't have to keep oodles and oodles of fish. And I know there's some people that have.
What was that story about that couple that just got busted for the crappie limit, like 250 crappie above the limit?
Over the limit?
Yeah, in like one day.
Serious.
That's insane. That's just the worst. I mean,
the problem
seriously,
is you can't even eat it before the freezer ruins it for the most part.
No,
right.
I don't remember, but fish is like the worst. I mean, it like a shelf life of a month, or I don't imagine. It's a guesstimation, but I mean, yeah. And I was gonna say, I know people that I don't know personally, but I've heard stories that, well, my grandpa's got a freezer and my mom's got a freezer, and I just distribute the fish. It's like, seriously,
right?
And
I mean, if you had a freeze dryer though, see, that's what I like is if you have a freeze dryer, which I think you were talking.
I'm working on getting freeze dryers in here.
Yeah, if you get a freeze dryer, you can just you can actually fillet the fish, throw them in the freeze dryer, just freeze dry them, and now they're actually good for a long time.
25 years.
Yeah,
really,
for fish. That's amazing.
Anything you put it in I found it at SHOT Show. Yeah. You put it in there. It's like 9 hours. You freeze dry it. You put it in the special bag, and you put it in your pantry. You don't even freeze it anymore.
Yep, it's literally like an MRE.
Full meals. Yeah, I mean you're astronaut food in your pantry.
Yep.
Cool.
And see, I'm totally excited for that because that gives me the excuse because sometimes I want to go catch fish to eat, but maybe I'm not really down to cook them soon.
Right.
You know what I mean? I just want to have them in case, and it's really hard to do that.
That's one thing that maybe at the store we should look into more is a good like a cleaning station. I don't know if we've ever sold like a portable fish cleaning station.
Yeah, right. I saw some of those this weekend.
I'm stuck right now. Like I know a lot of people like make stainless steel ones and all that kind of stuff. I'm not handy at all. I do it on a tailgate of my truck when it's negative 100 degrees outside and my hands freeze and the fish are a pain to clean. But it would make I think that's maybe something we should look at. I think it'd be a hot seller too. Because just like this Weston stuff, I mean, we do carry food preparation stuff in the store. We have the fire disc. We usually sell a pile of those, and the Weston stuff is phenomenal. This is my first time using this grinder. Okay. Lance let me use it, and it works really, really well. Plus, we have like the jerky gun up front, and he actually I didn't get a chance to use this, but I was kind of curious. He's got the burger. I have
the one that goes on my grinder and actually spits out patties.
Oh no way!
It's so awesome. Yeah. Well, see, like when we get done with deer hunting for the year, it's a 2-day family event to.
Yep.
That's what we do for 2 days. My wife's helping, the kids are helping, like you said, your kids, cutting stuff off. That's what we do.
Yep.
We just
Right.
prep burgers and
it's
steaks and
it's funny too because like my wife does not a big fan of venison, but it's
Same.
all in the
Same.
preparation of it, right? So now like when the boys were helping me last night, on Thursday when we were at work, they were off of school, and I told them, I said, we want to make jerky this weekend. All this meat's got to get trimmed. Well, how do we do it? So I shared a YouTube video with him. This is how you do it. And the oldest one got excited. He loves it. Now he's watching this video.
That's awesome.
He's getting stoked. But then, like, I'm listening to him as they're grinding this meat. One of them's like, you got too much fat on here. There's too much tallow. I'm like, well, there you go. You know, you want to make it better. It was your first times. It happens. Because it's a pain in the butt getting all that
Right.
silver
oh
skin
yeah,
off
it's a
everything.
pain. Oh, for sure.
But now you know it's going to taste better if you put a little more work into
and
it.
it does taste so much
So
better
much
getting
better.
all that off.
Yep. But it's a lot of work. But
We've gotten to the point in my house we don't even eat beef anymore. It's all
Oh,
we eat
yeah.
is
I'm
venison.
trying to see. That's why I'm
That's all
glad I'm
we
getting
eat.
back into hunting is because my
Yep.
goal for hunting is, I'm a conservationist, at heart, but at the same time, my end goal is for food.
Yep.
I want to be able to fill
that's
my
awesome.
freezer with food that like I caught
Yes.
or I killed and I prepared or I and a friend prepared rather than God knows what from what
Well, in
factory.
today's society
somewhere else.
with recalls on everything all
Right.
the time, you know where it came from.
Yeah.
Right. I'd rather have nature's food than
Yeah,
than
it's awesome.
big farm food.
Yeah. Yeah. That what's that one saying? I always see it on social media. It's like, would you rather find a hair in your food or like a BB or
Right.
something like
Yeah.
that? It's like, yeah, I'm going to the BB every day
Oh,
of the
for
week.
sure.
And as I was trimming up this meat, there was a couple of deer hair left in there. I'm like, yeah, I got the bigger ones off. Grind her up, It's- I'm not going to be upset about it. Like, we went to a restaurant 2 weekends ago. I'm not going to say the restaurant, but it was really, really good food. But we found 2 hairs that literally were like 12 inches long.
Well, at least they were 12 inches long.
Yeah. Good point. But either way, I mean, you go to this fancy restaurant, which I don't ever do, and you expect the food was amazing, but then
Right.
all of a sudden you're digging in this
Oh.
dish.
Did you
Hey,
finish it then?
No.
I was
no,
saying I
no.
can't.
No.
I'm just shut off
No.
completely.
See, like I'm that horrible person. Like I just eat anything, so
Really?
I'm like, whatever.
Oh.
It happens.
But what I think is this place is so
freaks
fancy
me
that the
out.
prices are so up there that I think they must get this a lot. Like people must try to play that off. Because the owner, the manager came out and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Like when they showed him the hair, there was stuck food to
Oh.
it. So it's not like somebody literally just said, "Here, we took a hair to compass the meal."
my
Right.
guts are
But
turning right now.
I mean, they
I
just kind of
can't.
played it off. They're like, "Oh yeah, okay." Then
Oh.
but either way, tangent over. But so that's what I did this weekend. What about you guys?
I took the family up snowmobiling.
Oh,
We
nice.
went up to Monaco, stayed with some friends of ours, rode the sleds around. My kid's sled broke down. First day we were fine. About 5 minutes into the second day, his kids just shut off. Engines all seized up.
Not on the trail.
Oh, on the trail, yeah. I had to rip the belt. We had to take the belt off, haul it all the way back. It's on the trailer. I got to take it in this afternoon, so that was a lot of
So
fun.
what kind of sled was that?
It's a Polaris.
Okay.
But it happens.
Well, yeah.
Right.
But it still doesn't run.
Well, you can't pull it at all. It's all seized up, so I don't
That's
know.
messed up.
I don't know if an oil pump failed and just locked her up.
How do
or
you
what.
get it? How did you get it off the trail?
Took the belt off. Once you take the belt
Yep.
off, they
Oh.
tow just like
Yep.
Okay.
they
Throw a
tow
rope
real
around
easy
it.
once you take the belt off. But
Sure.
Oh.
it's not the way I wanted to start my Saturday.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. I
Did
saw
you
that
see
too.
that?
Yep.
Yeah, I see that.
I'm excited for it. Yeah, I'm excited. Shout out to Matt True from last week Friday. Hooked me up.
Real quick recap: we had Matt True on the show Friday,
Yeah.
Hoyt,
who's our big Hoyt announcement. We're a Hoyt dealer now, which is awesome.
you and I got to figure out what bow we're
We're gonna
shooting.
paper rock scissors that thing.
Just don't get the same camo as me because
I
then
know.
the
See,
hat,
I always shoot all black, so
shirt-
don't worry about that.
All
I
right,
like
we're
all
cool.
black bows. That's my thing.
I want a Hoyt. I think
Well,
I
shoot
think
a Hoyt. I already told you
Get
get
one.
first pick.
I know, but I don't. I don't know. Like I'm
See,
just
back
so,
to
I'll
the
let
Rogers
you shoot
thing.
mine.
No, back to the Rogers thing. Real quick. This is the point I was going to try to make before, and I didn't want to talk about football, but just from a leadership standpoint, if McCarthy truly didn't have a giant ego and he truly wanted to win football games, he could assess that situation and said, you know what, Aaron Rodgers is the face of the franchise. He's the guy that pulls the trigger.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit down and I'm going to try to figure out how to work with this guy because obviously this isn't working.
Right.
And I said, hey, you're in this position. What do you want to see? What's happening, right?
Right.
So different than I'm doing with you, right?
Yeah, I know.
I want you to help promote the store. Hey, man, guess what?
I know.
If you want the Hoyt, I will bite the bullet. You can have the Hoyt. It's just that simple.
It honestly, like,
it's just not rocket science.
It's one
not
of those,
rocket
It's one of
appliances.
those
We got this.
decisions right now, which I don't know why, but I get anxious and I get sweaty. I'm
I
like,
don't care.
I don't
Do it,
know.
man.
I don't know. I don't want to feel like I jump brands every year, but it's.
But what's
really
the
tough.
problem with that though? It's no different than a car. You
I know.
like when I was in
It's
car
so
sales,
tough
I mean, it's the
because
same thing.
If you want to shoot what you feel's the best, you shoot what you feel's the best.
All right.
Give it a shot.
True, I'm gonna contact you.
Right?
I want orange accents though. I think I'm gonna go
Jesus.
black with orange accents.
See, I got mine. I got the new Gore.
Guys, both
I forgot
rocking your
the-
Hoyt hats today.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
We're matching a little bit.
Matt would be so proud
I
of you
know,
right now.
dude. And
Both
there's
rocking the Hoyt.
I
I
know.
like it.
I love my Bowtech, and I got one sitting in my office right now. I absolutely love it. If I had it in both worlds, I'd be able
But
to
if
shoot.
it's sitting in your office right now, that's because you're trying to sell it, right?
Well, I'm gonna pawn it off. I mean, they're both phenomenal bows, like True was saying on Friday. But like, I'm literally like, it's like a monster bucks walking in. I'm shaky because I just don't know what I want to do. And we carry Matthews. We're talking about Bowtech and Hoyt. We still carry Matthews.
I know.
We still carry the
I
Prime
was
line.
just commenting this morning. I was sitting with Mark up front. We're having a little talk. We're talking about the new gun counter that's coming in.
Oh, that looks awesome,
If you've been
by the
in the
way.
store in the last couple of weeks, it's really you can kind of starting to see where this is going now with the new gun counter. And there's 180 guns just going on the back wall alone. And then we just ordered. I think Steve just ordered the cabinets for the front where all the handguns and all
Right.
that type of stuff's going. I mean, it just looks awesome. The guy we've got doing the woodworking is like
Right.
a magician.
It looks
Oh,
nice in there.
BJ
It looks so
is
nice.
the man.
Now I do want to say something though. I went to.
Really? You want to say something?
I do. I gotta get it off my chest. No, I was with a buddy of mine this weekend, and he was putting together an AR-15 build, and he had to go get a couple of parts, and he hit me up and said, "Hey, come on with. Let's just do something this Saturday." And we went up and I secret shopped a couple of our competitors. And I got really bored really quick in their gun selection areas because I'm like, wow, I looked at, what Steve and Mark and everyone's ordering for us and what these guys carry. I'm like, this is the most boring gun selection at these stores that you could possibly have. I'm like, it's the same thing everyone has. And I'm like looking at what we're getting. I'm like, you can't even find half the stuff in stores around here
I
that
think
we're
Steve's
getting
doing
in.
an awesome job.
And it's
putting
all
that
good
together.
stuff though.
I mean, it's really unique stuff. And we've obviously got the staples, right?
Right.
Yeah.
If you want the
Yep.
staples, we got the staples. But if you want something unique and
Right.
something cool,
Well,
that just
even
come
unique
cool to look
concealed
at, right?
carry guns.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
got some unique stuff like the P238, those little guys. I mean, that is
He
such
showed
a
us that
sweet
that
little
day.
pistol.
It was cool.
Well, yeah, it came in a box of all of our podcast equipment. All of a sudden, I open the one box. I'm like, what kind of fancy microphones did we order?
Right.
And I pull it out, and I'm like, I didn't realize that there's a SIG logo on the box.
Oh,
and I just pull it
no.
out. I'm like, what is this? Pop it open. I'm like, oh, that's a P238. I'm
Nice.
like, all right.
Yeah.
I can get behind that.
It's pretty.
I
it's
can't wait
pretty-
for the DP12 to show up. I just want to put my hands on it.
I know.
Oh, right.
That's ordered. Dude.
We're going to the
I
range.
know. I just want to
Range
touch
day.
it. I'd be like, this is
TRS live from the range.
100% badass.
We
is
could
what this
definitely
is.
actually, now that I think about it, we could do a TRS live from the range.
Oh, for sure. Now we'll
Shoot with
do
our
some
headsets on.
on-location stuff with this for sure.
Heck
Just
yeah.
a shout out to Nick Brantner, Matt True. I don't know if I'm Megan. I mean,
Bob
thanks,
Albright.
Yeah.
Morning, Bob.
thanks everybody for tuning in. We really appreciate it. We're gonna.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Bob's actually from Winnie County.
Oh, hey, Bob.
Yeah, he's done a lot of
Is
work.
it Bob the Builder?
Sort of. He's
Kinda.
Does he
Bob,
build things?
Bob the architect.
Oh.
No, but he's done a
pretty
lot
close.
of work with designing and helping with the sports groups, building weight rooms, and he's done a lot of that
Oh,
work.
awesome.
It's been awesome. He's
Yeah.
done a
So-
really nice job.
Just a recap, we've covered Super Bowl and we got TRS Live going on, the 10% off promo as long as
Yep.
the show goes on. So make sure if you haven't jumped on that, jump on that.
Definitely.
Get some stuff ordered because Striker is 30% off.
That's good.
You're gonna need it after this week of rain.
I
and
saw 6, like what, Thursday? High
Yeah.
6? I mean,
But
it's going to get cold again here.
it's gonna get cold, but there's gonna be a lot of water on the ice. So you're
Yep.
gonna want that waterproof knee and that insulated knee. And the other thing you're gonna want to get that I don't understand why we haven't sold out of is like those Catula
Yeah.
spikes and
Yeah.
all that kind of
Yep.
stuff.
Those-
Dude. Like
you
everybody
have
that-
to. I mean, when there's no snow on the ice, you have to.
Just walking into the store today, I almost.
Here's the simple way to look at spikes. You might look at those Catulas and they're what, $50?
Right.
And be like, I don't want to spend $50 in that, right? Well, you fall on the ice, break a hip. That's countless dollars, right? Even
Right.
if you just throw a hip out or something, right? We're all getting older now, so this is
Yeah.
a realistic deal.
Yep.
You got to go to the chiropractor for 3-4 weeks of time
Yep.
to get that readjusted back into place, right?
Yep.
Well, I don't know, my copay is $25 every time I go,
Yeah.
right? Plus
Yep.
the travel, gas.
Right.
$50 for spikes is cheap.
It's cheap.
Yep.
And
do it.
that's on the high end, which they're totally worth the money.
Right.
But we have spikes for like $8.
I was gonna say I have the cheap ones with just like the metal zigzag on the bottom, and I mean those are perfect.
Anything's better than nothing.
Anything's better, but to argue like that, those Catulas are nice because they fit. Like I've had a couple of issues with the ones that I have. Trying to get them over the top of a boot is just impossible.
I have the fix for that next year. I found some at the shot show.
The ones that you found there?
They got the BOA system. So it's actually got that cable BOA system.
Nice.
So you can make it huge, put it on, and just ratchet it on.
Huh.
We'll have those next year.
I
actually found them at the shot show.
Nice. I helped my father-in-law yesterday with chores, and I was out there, and I'm like sliding around and all that stuff, and I look at it. He's got his spikes on. You know that. I'm like, duh. Why didn't I do that?
Larry just commented and he said he was on Poigan this morning. There's 5 inches of water everywhere.
So he was casting. He was.
Larry's a walleye fisherman. He might have been out there trying to troll on.
Yeah, he's
all the old holes are coming up through the old holes.
I don't know.
He was trying to pull those custom flicker minnows that I got on the
That's a
the
good
real
segue
deals.
to talk about. So tomorrow, Zach, Matt, and I, we're going to take a little trip around to all the boat landings on Winnebago, Poigan. We're going to make a little drive, do some filming for the show Wednesday. And then Zach will probably put a video together because that's what Zach likes to do.
Yep.
I promised him when he started that we're going to do all this live stuff, but I'd give him some creativity time to – right? Did I not?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So he could sit down and do some creative video stuff because that's what that's what makes guys like Zach tick. But we're going to get out there and actually be able to show everybody what the landings look like.
Right.
You're trying to make some calls, try to talk to some people, get some information about the ice so we can get a video out there before Sturgeon Spring this weekend on what's going on, what's kind of happening.
It's crazy that's this weekend already.
Yep.
Starts the 9th.
So we'll be having some of that on the show Wednesday, and then probably put a video out, maybe even go out again before the weekend. Because if it's 6 Thursday, a lot of it's going to freeze up again.
Right over.
Right.
But it's just nice for people if not in the area. If I think it's a nice service we can provide.
You know what we should do is we should go to these landings with spikes. The Catulas and be like,
here's
hot by
here's
deal.
Zach falling without him.
Yeah.
Right.
Here's Zach with him.
We could just set like a lemonade stand at each landing and be like, as the guys are slipping and sliding, be like, oh, I bet you can use these.
We'll get out there and do that. I think this. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't out. I know that there's the big crack. I think opened up on Poigan.
Yep, they were
Saturday.
talking about that.
Was it Saturday? It
I
opened
think so.
up.
Yeah.
A sled actually went through.
Oh,
I know that, but it opened up like 20 feet wide or something. This big crack moved right around. What's the big landing over there? Nofke's.
Oh,
yep.
So Larry probably was pulling.
He might have been trolling.
He was
this
probably
morning.
trolling that crack. Yeah.
We're gonna get creative with my boat. We're gonna do some dumb stuff with that thing. I'm excited for that.
You guys do that. Let me know.
Yeah.
I'll film with the rescue boat on shore.
Yep. The airboat or something.
Yeah.
But
nice. So that's tomorrow. We're gonna go for a drive, and then also tomorrow we're gonna talk to TJ again.
Yep, TJ's coming on tomorrow.
Not tomorrow, Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Oh,
you're
yeah,
right.
sorry, sorry. Yeah, Wednesday.
So we'll have TJ on here talk about the MLF finish, which I want to talk about here for a second.
MFL.
What? It's MLF.
He's been calling it MFL since we started
I
talking
was like,
about
Matt,
it.
this is not the managed forest law.
And it ticks me too because like I have that weird thing, where when people say something wrong, like I just like get that tick. So every time he says, I just look at him like,
no, this is not the.
That's not it.
He, when him and True got into that whole like forest managery and whatever, like his eyes got this big and he's all fired up. Like, no, this is not the managed forest law program.
Yeah.
This is the Major League Fishing. So I want to talk about that for a second. And then TJ's on his way to the St. Johns River for the next Elite Series tournament.
Oh, that's where. Okay.
So he's actually traveling today, I believe.
That one's in Florida as well, right?
Yep. So he's going there, and then we'll get some insight. He was actually sitting with the guys that created the Major League Fishing Series. He was sitting there with them during the finale yesterday. Well, so somebody commented before about the Super Bowl versus this Major League Fishing thing. If you are a fan or if you like fishing and you don't want to watch this Major League Fishing stuff, I question who you are.
Right.
It was so awesome.
I wish I could go back to the first 2 times we went live to you being the guy going, I don't know about this. I just don't know how they're going to do it.
Here's the thing. I didn't know how they were going to take the show format and put it into this like actual tournament format. It was awesome.
I feel like it's just like those YouTube fishing challenges that like Uncut Angling and them do, like the 38 hours or whatever, where they just have an absolute sleigh session for as long as they can go, and then compare at the end.
A little bit. I think one of the knocks on the MLF thing versus the traditional tournament fishing is they're not going to fish for big fish anymore. Well, if you would have been watching these guys down the stretch, they weren't not fishing for big. They were fishing. Are they fishing maybe numbers over one big bite for sure?
Right.
But I mean, it got down to the point there where, so Jordan Lee ended up winning with 55 and some change, right?
Yeah.
He barely made the cut. I don't know if you knew that or not.
No.
So on elimination day, with I think it was under a minute left, he caught a 2.5, like almost 13-pound fish. So I think it was 2 pounds 12 ounces.
What?
That put him in he qualified last to make it into the
Oh my God.
into the second finish
from last to first.
Literally and it was right at the buzzer. 30 seconds left or something like that. He puts this 12 ounce fish in the boat, qualifies dead last, 20th. Then I think he finished 6th to get into the top 10 cut. It was you don't get to see that in normal fishing tournaments. You just don't get to see the excitement and the highs and the lows.
Right.
So then this guy's got I think he was up to like 12 pounds or 15 pounds.
So how many people made the cut then? What is
10.
that? 10.
So it goes
That's
from
right. It was
80
10.
down to like 20 and down to 10.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So the last day, he goes on like a tyrant, right? He's just pounding fish. It was awesome. It's just like one after another. Edwin Evers is trying to play catch up a little bit. Well, then Lee's fish kind of went cold, which it happens. I mean, he could have caught them all in that area. I mean, like TJ was saying on the show, they got to see this like for 4 hours. Right? I mean, the guy caught 26 fish and he maybe spent 4 hours on the lake. I mean,
Right.
Oh,
yeah, that's right.
Right.
To scout this lake,
yeah,
they had
for 4
hours.
on one of the days that week, right?
Because that's what, he was saying that some guys weren't even going to take the time to go scout it.
Because they just, it's a lot like where they were
Yep.
type of thing. But he got on a spot, started just railing on him, built this huge lead. Edwin Evers kind of had a little similar story, kind of squeaking into the top 10 to make that final day. And I mean, he's legit. Edwin Evers. Jordan Lee's got to have one big set to fish, to stay in front of a guy like Evers breathing down your neck. I mean, Evers is awesome. That guy's really good.
Yep.
So anyway, he's just and Evers is pounding him. And the cool thing with this format is they got the officials in the boat, and the guys are asking like, how far is he? Where's he at? Where's he at? And they're telling him back and forth like he knows Evers is kind of closing the deal. Well, then there was about 5 or 6 minutes, maybe it was 10 minutes left to go. Lee pulls one in the boat. As he flips it in the boat, it comes off, hits the bottom of the boat.
And that's a penalty.
It's a penalty, a 2-minute penalty. Oh. So as Evers is over here just kind of reefing on fish, this guy's literally sitting on the deck of his boat, and he's laying down. He's just coming unglued for 2 minutes.
Right.
Because Evers is catching fish. And he's just like, you could see, I mean, he's fishing for $100,000.
Right.
Oh, my God.
I mean, he's 10 minutes away from $100,000, and he's got to sit there and twiddle his thumbs for 2 minutes. And he was just coming unglued.
Because you're saying he can't tie, he can't touch a pole.
He's just got to sit there. He was just coming unglued. It was awesome to watch this whole thing unfold. And you could see him, and he was just hat on, hat off. At one point, he took it on. He's literally like, hunched over.
Yeah.
He's probably trying not to throw off.
Well, because then the official is keeping him updated the whole time, right?
So Evers is catching some fish, and then Evers actually hooks one, and the official wasn't ready, so Evers is holding on to this thing. You could tell he's like biting his lip, like, come on, dude.
Right.
You've got one job to do, weigh my damn fish. It's just awesome to see this whole thing unfold. Well, so then Evers got, I think, within 8 pounds during this whole exchange. Now, you might say, well, in Wisconsin, 8 pounds, that's a lot of weight. Well, they're fishing Florida, guys.
Right.
Florida's one bite. I mean, it could have pulled a 10-pounder. Now he's in the lead, right?
Yeah.
I'm sitting there watching, like, how cool would this be when Lee's he's in his penalty. Again, Evers hooks this 10-pounder, right? Like, how epic would this be for fishing? I mean, that was just. And I kind of talked to TJ a little bit. He said the guys that he was sitting with were like praying, like, come on, fish gods, just let him hook a monster. It'll be awesome. So anyway, so that penalty get over. Lee stands up, grabs his rod, throws it. First cast, he hooks a 3-pounder. I mean, you could just see the looks on their face. Well, then when this whole thing gets over, we don't have to talk about this anymore because we'll talk about it on Wednesday with TJ. But it was so cool to be in the boat with them. Like, dude, you just won $100,000. Like, what's going on? And he was just kind of like dumbfounded. Like, I did it. Like, I won the inaugural. I mean, Lee's not a slouch, right? This kid's legit.
Well, that's
won
the
back-to-back
one
classics.
Saying, like, the youngest one.
I mean, this guy's awesome.
How old is he?
I don't even know if he's in his 20s.
I thought I seen something like, is he 21 or 27? I thought.
I'll find out for us.
Either way, that's outstanding.
It was so cool to watch. He walked away with $100,000, a 47-pound trophy.
Yeah.
It's just, it was everything. I actually grabbed my wife and I'm like, here, watch this. I said, I've been in tournament fishing my whole life. This is all I've ever wanted to do is fish tournaments and be in this industry. And I'm like, this is how fishing was meant to be. This is competitive fishing is right here in front of me now. I'm super excited to see what the elites and like the tour try to do to combat this, because viewers are viewers, right? And everyone's fighting for sponsorship dollars and all this kind of stuff. What is the Elite Series going to do to combat what I watched on Sunday? Because I've never seen that before in fishing, live.
It reminds me, so what I'm hearing and everything from the MLF, and I feel bad that I missed it. I should have definitely watched it.
Right?
Yeah,
I'm sure they have everything. It was so cool.
What I feel like is it's going more so from the traditional, fishing rules, like your limits and everything like that, to just an absolute all-out points war, just like NASCAR moved to, and a couple other. Yep. Couple other things moving
but see, the thing that I was, nobody's gonna be fishing for size. Well, I guarantee you.
Oh, you're still gonna.
Evers is, it's bull. You're fishing for the biggest fish you can catch.
Right.
Is what you're
well,
doing.
I mean, think about it. You catch a 6-pound fish. That's somebody else's 3 fish.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Well,
absolutely.
you think about that to your everyday fishing weekend. I mean, if you're like me, I'm out there to catch a couple nice ones, but I'm also just out there to have fun and start catching a pile of fish. So that relates to most.
Nate
fishermen.
said Lee's 27.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I mean, this kid's legit. He's the real deal. I mean, everybody on that circuit's really good. They're all going to have their heyday.
Yeah.
It just happened to be that this kid won the first one.
Right.
In kind of, I don't want to say dramatic fashion. He won by 11 pounds or something. I mean, Evers kind of slowed down in the last couple of minutes. He caught a couple, but it was just.
Right.
The drama is there in fishing, especially when you're in big bodies of water. The drama is there when you can see it.
Right.
Because they're showing you now. There's no drama in these other circuits because it's like, well, you'll see it like when we go to the Classic.
Yep.
They're going to create drama at the weigh-in.
Right.
But a lot of it during the day is, well, those guys are out there doing their thing, and we're going to be at the show or we're going to be doing stuff. And it's like, what happened? We don't really know. Somebody shows up, and they're going to tell us a story about it.
Right.
But you didn't get to see the emotion and the drama
Yep.
of it actually unfolding right before your eyes. It was so awesome.
Huh.
And it was 100 times more entertaining than the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
for anybody who's probably watching this or probably outdoorsmen, it was 100 times more entertaining than the Super Bowl. There was no ads.
I almost fell asleep during the Super Bowl.
It was terrible.
The whole thing.
Yeah,
The halftime show was even awful.
I don't know one person that
Like-
liked the halftime show.
Like,
I didn't even watch
Maroon, first of all, they need to stop booking guys who are like really like
Why did he
just
take his
washed up.
shirt off? Like,
That I
that's
laughed so hard.
weird.
I laughed so hard. I'm like, dude, you're like 45. You really actually aren't that fit. I'm like, why? Plus, he has horrible tattoos. I mean, his tattoos are some of the worst celebrity tattoos I think I've ever seen.
Did I hear correctly? Did he have one across his belly that said like California?
Yeah, that's what it said.
Yeah.
California right here.
He had a Tupac, but he moved it from the chest to the belly.
yeah.
Because he's
Like-
not Tupac.
All right.
Seriously.
But I mean, then there was that. Well, and then for me too, for the Super Bowl halftime show, being a millennial, I grew up on SpongeBob, and there was this huge joke going around that they're going to play the SpongeBob Super Bowl ad or whatever during the halftime show.
And they did.
And they went to do it, and then Travis Scott, crashes the Super Bowl, and I'm just like sitting here like, first of all, why would they book Travis Scott? Like Travis Scott,
Who's that? I don't even know.
he's an up and coming like rapper.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, he's not really that
Don't
good.
feel bad. I had to ask my kid. I'm like, who is this guy? I can't
Well, I think
understand anything he's saying.
But then my favorite part was then they brought in Big Boy. Now, mind you, to double back, Maroon 5 got like all of the time. Travis Scott rapped like half of a verse from his only hit song. And then Big Boy from like 20 years ago shows up and does 10 seconds of his only hit song that everybody forgot about.
Right.
And then it's back to Maroon 5 being weird.
Oh.
And I was like, what happened?
That's about when he took his shirt off, right?
Yeah, and then I looked at him and I literally
I
laughed. I looked at my wife. I'm like, why is he doing that? I feel like I need, like, if I went on stage and took my shirt off, it'd be just about as awkward as when he took his.
It was just weird. Whatever.
Yeah, I'm glad it sounds like I'm glad I didn't see it. Well, even your wife said she's been to a lot of weigh-ins and stuff like that. Back to the
She's been to a
MFL.
couple.
MFL, yeah.
MLF.
MLF, yeah.
Holy cow. We're going to have to make him right
Can
there
I
on the
get a
board.
belly tattoo?
We're going to have to make him write MFL on the board
I know,
like
a million
400 times.
MLF.
LF.
I can't do it.
Even in the middle of
I
the
don't
joke,
even
can't
know
do
why I
it.
can't. You guys, anyways. So yeah, she said it was cool, and
It was so cool to watch it.
I'm gonna have to watch it.
Because you could see, like, you know how you watch, if you watch, like, press conferences, right?
Okay.
Yep.
I'm
I'm sorry. I like Larry's comment. He just goes that the halftime show was terrible. It's about playing the game, not a concert of washed up performers.
I
And it
agree.
seriously is. It's always
When are
just
they gonna
washed
put
up.
Metallica
Like,
on the halftime?
dude, no,
That's what I wanna
I've been
see.
saying this since I was a kid. NFL is seriously. I mean, I don't want to be sexist, but it's a man's game, and everyone that watches it is pretty much conservative into rock and country. Why do we have so many washed up pop artists playing music at the Super Bowl?
I want to see.
I don't understand it.
Metallica out there.
If Metallica did that, it would just absolutely destroy
it'd be
that
awesome.
venue, and it'd be even like. Have you ever seen a Metallica show live in the last 10 years? Their theatrics are better than what the Super Bowl had.
Right.
Besides the fireworks.
I'm with you. I agree. So anyway, MLF was awesome. I'm super jacked to hear what TJ has to say on Wednesday from behind the scenes. Like, he was sitting at the table with these guys.
The head honchos, the
head
creators.
honchos, he said, I don't want to name names because I don't know if he wants to or whatever.
Right.
But
Let him do it.
He'll be on Wednesday. We'll be talking about that. I can't wait. I just can't wait to hear. It was so cool.
Well, yeah, he did such a good job. I'm sure the excitement, he's going to do a better job describing
it was so cool. And, for us, I mean, this is a part of what we do.
Right.
It's awesome for us to see an industry like this that's just thriving right now.
Right.
Like, if we were in a business of selling something, then that industry was kind of going backwards or whatever. It'd be hard to get excited about coming to work and selling what we sell and doing this type of stuff.
Right.
But within that bass world, I mean, it is on fire right now, right? And we got this new thing in Wisconsin with the Wisco Bass that we're sponsors of this year. That's a lot along the same lines as this MLF format.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's,
Right.
I know Kyle doesn't want me talking about these big names. He's hoping to kind of get hooked up with them or whatever.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's kind of it will be a feeder for
Right.
a circuit like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't wait to get on the water this year and kind of, we're never going to be as live as the MLF, but being able to see some of that at all is just so cool.
Right. So I think talking about the industry as a whole, quick, not to get too deep into a tangent.
That's what we're here for is tangents.
Right. But with MLF, right, you've just got a 27-year-old guy who, to most people in a fishing industry, that's a kid.
Oh, for
27-year-old kid went out, slayed fish, right, wins $100,000. Blasted all over social media to kids that are aspiring to become something out of angling, but with social media comes the fact that nowadays kids don't want to fish, they want to fish because it's an opportunity.
Right.
And seeing that this 27-year-old guy just was on basically TV,
and I believe
winning
he came through the college
$100,000.
fishing ranks too.
Right.
I think he won one of the major college fishing. This Jordan Lee kid did.
Right. But with that being said, though, that social media promotion of this sport now, which because in the past 5 years, there could have been two ways that the fishing as a sport could have gone. If you look at it, theoretically, it could have dwindled off because a lot of kids and the people who would grow up to become fishermen aren't really interested in that stuff anymore. But now that they've got that flair to it and they've added like, hey, look at all these YouTube fishermen making a killing doing this.
Yep.
Look at all the people that are fishing tournaments making tons of money, and it's super glamorous with all the wraps and boats and trucks and lift kits and everything. They're giving them a reason to want to fish. It might not be the same reason that, your generation fishes for, or even my generation at 23, but it's still a reason, and they're still out fishing.
Right.
Plus adding in the conservation aspect, especially on like the MLF style, which is this is all about conservation, even better.
It was so cool. I wish you would have watched. I should have texted you and said, "Hey, you should turn this on."
Yeah.
But I was like glued to my phone.
Right.
Like,
You couldn't
I didn't
use
want
it.
to. I didn't want to turn it off. I didn't want to miss Evers pulling in a 10-pounder because he would have lost his mind.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just being there in the boat with those guys was just cool to be able to see the emotions and the expressions and the. You can't fake that. Like,
Right.
I can't comprehend sitting in a boat for 2 minutes while I'm fishing for $100,000 and this guy's catching me.
Right.
You've got to just be exploding, like, and then be able to pick up your rod and go back to what you were doing at the same level you were doing it.
Right.
Without being on tilt. Like, I don't know if you ever play poker or whatever, but without being on tilt, like, that's awesome.
What was the bait they were throwing? Do you remember? Like
They were throwing bladed jigs, both of those two guys.
Oh, okay.
They were throwing bladed jigs. I'm sure TJ will get probably into some of that stuff, but they were both fishing for reaction. But that's what a lot of the day 4 is going to be in the MLF is a lot of reaction bite type fishing.
Yep.
Because they don't have a lot of time to pre-fish it. They don't have a lot of time to build a pattern around it. So a lot of it's going to be how fast can I go and catch fish because I really don't know what's going on.
Yep.
So you're going to see a lot. I think you're going to see a lot of that on the championship days. A lot more reaction, faster fishing because they're trying to cover water.
Right.
So what? Explain to me like some of the baits that we carry in the store. What kind of bait were they throwing? Like not like a chatterbait.
Yep, chatterbait.
Oh,
just
chatterbait.
a bladed jig. It's
okay.
different name for it. Same
Okay.
thing.
No. I mean, yeah. So chatterbait.
Yeah, there's about 17,000 ways you could probably fish a chatterbait.
Yep.
They were throwing it out and reeling it in just like a crankbait. So they were ripping it through the hydrilla and stuff really fast, just trying to get fish to react to it because, like I said, they're trying to cover a lot of water. And they both ended up in spots that had pretty aggressive fish, so they were just destroying these. It was pretty cool. They throw it out there. They get about 3 cranks and they're setting the hook. It was
Well, I was
awesome.
trying to look at the pictures, and I mean, I like looking at pictures rather than reading articles. So I remember them talking hydrilla, but I just didn't see what kind of bait they were throwing.
Yeah,
But
that's what
from the pictures, it looked
Well,
like
that's the other awesome thing with this format. Now, I know the elites are doing a bunch of live stuff. I mean, there is no secrets to what these guys are throwing.
right.
You can see it live.
Yeah.
And you're
Right.
watching it, and like, you don't know maybe the exact plastic or the exact color. Like, you could see it was green. You couldn't. It was a green pumpkin. Was it
Right.
green copper fleck?
Right.
There's a million different variations they could have been throwing, but you could tell the basic colors of what it is.
Yeah.
And that's what bass fishing is for the most part, anyways. But there's no hiding it. Here's what I'm throwing. Here's my rod. Here's my reel. Here's my line. Here's
Right.
what I'm fishing. I mean, it was awesome.
Well, literally, you could have went to that same exact spot through the same bait, and you would have probably never caught a fish.
Maybe
You know,
not.
it's just a hot. It could have been just a hot bait.
Well, I
at the time.
guarantee you there's some people that live there right now that are on that lake throwing exactly that bait
Oh,
in
yeah.
those exact same
Yeah.
spots.
Yep.
That's just part of fishing too. But
The only thing you're not trying to win $100,000.
it was just I don't know how to describe it. Maybe I'm just a geek and I really love tournament fishing and I'm really into that thing, and it was so cool to watch what I've always dreamed about. Like, this is
Right,
it
this
was
is where
just
you wanna
cool to
be.
be.
Right.
It was just cool to watch. Like, this format exists now, and technology's enabling it. Right.
Oh,
you couldn't do
yep.
it 20 years ago. Live streaming wasn't a thing, and I totally
Right.
get that.
Yep.
But it'll be interesting to see now what is the Bass Elite's going to do. What is the FLW Tour going to do to try to compete with this?
Just like
Right.
other teams are going to be trying to catch the Patriots.
Yep.
What are these teams going to try to do?
Well,
with
they've been
the-
trying for years and they can't
Right.
catch the Patriots. So.
Right. Well, yeah, it's that's exciting, and I can't wait to talk to TJ on Wednesday. But again, like TRS Live, you can use that promo code. I'm just gonna keep getting it out
Yeah.
there. I mean,
You're doing a good job, man.
I know.
Good job.
I'm trying to recap. I can't talk as passionately about this.
I know.
this
That's how I
fishing-
feel when you get on the land management.
I know.
We're talking about burning the woods, and I'm like,
Store.
I mean, I like that stuff.
no,
But
this is exciting to
it's
me.
just not as I don't get all jacked up about it. I mean,
Right.
I want the end result of
Yes.
the prescribed burns and all those,
Yeah.
but I don't get excited about thinking about it.
Well, I don't need another YouTube type show to addiction, but now it sounds like this fishing tournament is what I'm gonna have to start watching.
It is.
Yep.
It was awesome,
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what my nights are now, just watching YouTube.
and it's gonna happen. The guy catching the big fish to jump, it's gonna happen. It's
Right.
gonna happen.
Yep.
It's just a matter of not. But see, that's the thing now is you watch the football game because you wait for that wow moment.
Right.
Yeah.
Who's gonna just destroy somebody with a stiff arm, or who's gonna
Right.
actually that guy for the Rams actually did that, but then he fumbled and lost 3 yards.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Like he totally pancaked that guy, which would have been awesome if he kept the ball and ran through him, right?
Yep.
But nope, he fumbled.
he fumbled.
Just terrible.
Well, did you see that though? That dude literally
Oh, yeah.
punched
That was
that
a great
football
play.
out. It was an awesome.
Sacrificed his face for
Awesome.
that, but he got it done.
So here's my question now: is okay. So the first one was over. So now are these guys going into this next tournament as the
I don't
leaders?
even know the next schedule. I haven't even had a chance to look.
No, I know. I
Every
think
tournament starts from scratch.
Oh, so
They've got a point system.
Okay.
So there's a point system. So now, obviously, however they've got that laid out, Lee's in 1, Evers is in 2, and whatever.
does that like TJ was trying to say like they don't even have like a first, second, third boat guy go out, or do they still have that? You know,
What do you
where
mean?
where you're launched by.
No, because they go out to their spots, and then at a certain time they say, okay, line's in, you can start fishing.
Oh.
So and that was the other cool thing with this format. So most tournaments, you like when we filmed the Wisco Bass, like if let's say they have to be back to the weigh-in by 4 o'clock. So if they're 3 hours away by boat, they got to drive to get in. If you come in late, you lose half your weight.
Oh.
So that's how a normal tournament operates.
Yep.
Where with the MLF is you can fish up until okay, that's it. So
Done.
they literally have the countdown. They were like 30 seconds. They're like last cast because if you hook it, you can still catch it after, just like football.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Like the Music City Miracle, you can throw the ball around. The clock's over.
Yep.
If we put this ball in the end zone, we win somehow. So we're just gonna
Right.
chuck it around, right?
So,
Right.
So Major League Fishing's built that into it to have that drama where you could get that. Well, like Jordan Lee did to get into the elimination round, was he caught that fish with 30 seconds to go. That put him in. You don't get that in these other tournaments because
Right.
you might be fishing 20 minutes. Now you can make the argument that it's just different. I'm not saying one's better or worse, but like when we're fishing this year, if a guy fishes, let's say we're fishing Winneconne, if a guy decides to fish in the Winneconne River, he's going to have more time to fish than if a guy decides to run out to the lake.
Right.
He's just by nature of his decision,
Yep.
he gets more time to fish than the guy that makes the run. And now that kind of comes into play with how those tournaments play out.
Yep.
where with this tournament with the MLF thing, they get to fish right up till the buzzer, which I think is pretty sweet.
I think that's a pretty cool format too.
It was just, I don't know. I was so jacked watching it. I mean, it was just, I was all like, come on. It was awesome.
It sounds pretty sweet.
So anyway.
For sure.
Probably have to spend the rest of the day watching it, I think.
Yep. If I can get it on the computer, I'll be watching it while I work.
All right, so tomorrow we're going to get out and go do some filming.
Yep.
Go check out some landings, try to get a couple interviews with some guys out in the lake.
Well, and you and I got some product videos, too, we're going to put together.
Yep.
We've been really wanting to do the Flame King for the last couple weeks.
For sure.
And now we're going to do that video today.
Yep.
So we're going to show everybody how that thing works and
Awesome.
some other product videos. So if there's anybody out there that wants to see some product demonstrations, let us know. Zach and I are anxious to do all kinds of cool stuff. And we obviously today's Monday, so we're going to get some product shout-outs going on. And I was going to say before, like we were talking on our tangent about catching fish and big fish, little fish. I think it was kind of cool, the pictures that come in on, now we're calling our Thursdays Pictures Fest, is we're calling it Throw It Back Thursday.
Nice.
Yep.
And it's kind of cool, you know, like you catch a little perch or a little bluegill and everybody's like, this isn't, but now it gives you an avenue to show that fish off.
That's
Right.
cool.
Be proud of that fish, you know.
Absolutely.
And then we have our Trophy Photo Tuesdays, and we're coming up with more and all other ideas. But yeah, it's kind of cool, like to see the small fish people are catching. Like Tony that works up front posted I think it was a lipless crankbait in a bass, and he caught a bass that was literally as
Same
big
size?
as the bait. So
It's amazing what a fish will try to eat.
oh, isn't it?
Oh, it's crazy.
Well, you and Justin talk about it all the time. You guys are like, well, what are they biting on? Dude, the fish they're willing to eat all the time.
They've got a brain this big. It's just figuring out what they want to eat at that moment.
Right.
Right? Like Justin was fishing this weekend, and he said, every hour he had to change tactics.
Yeah.
Same spot, just had to kind of change, and they kind of went in phases every hour, so something different. Could have been lighting, could have been water clarity.
Right.
Different school of bait fish could have moved in. I mean, fish aren't super smart.
How many
You just
times
gotta
in your
trick 'em.
fishing experiences have you were telling us, I can't remember what lake, but you were seeing fish all over your graph. How many times have you threw a bunch of bait at them, leave that area, come back and throw the exact same bait you before, and now that all of a sudden the trigger, the bite all of a sudden is now on?
Like if you talk to Ty, he'll talk about igniting a school. Something trigger. It's just like a herd of deer, right?
Yep.
If you got a herd of deer all in the food plot and they're all acting normal, all of a sudden one of them saw a leaf fall out of the tree or something, and that deer becomes alerted.
Yep.
The whole herd becomes on edge instantly, right? They can just feel it with each other. They see the white tail or whatever. Fish are the same way.
Right.
Like the whole school could be kind of negative and whatever. As soon as one decides to go, they instantly all turn it on.
Really?
Because they don't want to be left out.
Yep.
Like that. If it's feeding time,
Yep.
I got to get mine now. I've never been a fish, but I'm assuming that's how they operate.
Well, yeah.
Like I got to get mine. It's first come, first serve. I'm gonna go.
Yep.
What kind of things do you do to trigger that? I mean, like
Every day is different.
But I mean, are you literally if you're seeing fish all over your graph, you literally just go through the tackle box trying to find something they want, or I mean, how do you?
Me typically, if I'm breaking down a body of water, if they're there and I've got my 3 or 4 things that I've either patterned out that week or my confidence lures, and they just aren't going, I will move on to something. I'll move on to a different spot and come back to them later.
Okay.
I'll usually let the time change.
Yep.
My deal is, I've just found in my experience that you spend way more time trying to find random crap in your tackle box than throwing things that you're accustomed to.
Okay.
See, there's a lot of baits out there. The guys that are really, really good, they have X, Y, and Z baits.
Yep.
And they know how to fish those in every way, shape, or form.
It's a confidence bait.
Yep. Or it's I know exactly what this bait does. So I know how to throw it. I know how deep it goes. I know how to present this lure correctly.
Yep.
I'd rather take that and go find fish that I can catch with that.
Okay.
Than spend all of my time now fishing out. Now I had a walleye tournament years ago out in South Dakota that I had one school of fish that I was very, very confident that were the winning fish. Very, very confident. I spent 4 days trying to figure out how to catch those fish. Now that's very, very odd. I normally never fished like that.
Yep.
Everything else that was going on in the circumstances, I didn't have any confidence that I was going to win anywhere else. I knew if I could get those fish to bite, I had a chance. I finished second, but I was more right than wrong. I mean, I knew if I could get those fish to go, I had a chance.
So so you finished second. Where were you up to? Did you finally trigger a bite over there?
Oh yeah, I figured out how to catch them.
But what position were you in before you figured?
No, I'm pre-fishing.
Oh,
So I was
okay. It
in
wasn't
like I
tournament
was.
day.
I don't remember what it was day 1. After day 2, I was in the lead. I don't want to talk about day 3, but I finished second.
Okay.
But it took me 4 days of practice to figure out how to get those fish to bite, and then once I figured it out, I could catch them.
And then you just stop catching them because you're like, I don't want them to get smart to what I'm
Right.
throwing
Well,
as
yeah,
well.
that's part of pre-fishing is figuring out what they're going to bite on, and then leaving those fish alone until tournament day. Right. You can fish other parts of the lakes, and we'll get into this a lot over the summer when we actually go out on the water. But
I'm excited to see the velocity difference, just because from what I'm learning, in my adventure trying to get back into the heart of fishing, and everything. Especially at least open water. I don't know, ice fishing to me is fun, and I'm glad that I'm investing in it, but it's definitely not my favorite.
Me neither.
But what I look at is, I hear a lot of people talk.
I'm opposites. I love ice fishing.
Right. I hear a lot of people talk, though, about, bait presentations and, what to do here and there. And I think one thing that a lot of people forget about is that fish are natural. And nature has its course. So when you think about it, if you're fishing dusk for crappies and whatnot, what should you be throwing? Probably flies, because at that time of night, guess what they're eating? They're coming top water and they're eating flies.
The big thing with fishing is match the hatch.
Yep.
If you can find out what they're eating, you've got a much better shot of catching those fish.
Yep.
Are they feeding on crayfish if it's bass, right? Are they feeding on crayfish? Are they feeding on bluegills? Are they feeding on shad?
Yep.
If it's walleye, are they feeding on gobies? Are they feeding on flies? What are they eating right now? And that's typically deer are the same way.
Oh yeah.
Are the deer in the clover? Are they in the turnips? Are they in the corn?
Right.
Are they in the beans?
But in the fishing world, like you guys are always talking about, it's so hard to scout that though. How do you really scout what a fish is eating at the right time?
That's what separates the guys like Jordan Lee from the guys like me.
I can't put
on another planet.
I'm just gonna put my head under the water and be like, oh yeah, there's a bunch.
They actually do that. It's called a flogger.
Oh, I've seen that.
It's outlawed in most tournaments. Like they used to do that up on the bay a lot for smallies, because you could see 20 feet down and see them.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's outlawed. No, you can't do that.
Nice. You should have to snorkel. If you're gonna do it, you can do it.
But that's what makes a good fisherman. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, deer hunting's a little different. You can see it.
Yes.
They're here or they're not here type of thing. Where fishing, that's where the panoptics come into play, and all this reading your electronics, and then just.
We're gonna develop a trail camera for fish.
I mean, you could do that.
You could do it.
I've seen it.
You could take an underwater camera that just takes pictures for sure.
Well, what you do is all you have to do is you take a Markham or a Aquaview with DVR, hook it up to this guy right here that we use for our camera setup, and run an extremely long cable from the shore to your wherever you're going to host the computer at, and they do it like sturgeon spawning.
Well, that's where they get the Wolf River cam from.
Yep.
That's how that.
Which is pretty cool.
Thanks for. There's a lot of new people joining in, so obviously cool. Thank you very much. And then Nathan Hahn said, a smallmouth bass get super competitive when you get the school fire. I think every fish is that way.
Bass are they're a territorial predator.
There's so many times I've caught smallmouth bass, and then there's another one chasing it.
Well,
and then you're like, you keep that fish on because that other one, and then you tell your buddy to throw over there too, and you guys.
Well, that's what I was saying. Is they're going to get theirs. Like that's. Right. I wish we still had we had the tank down in Oshkosh at the old Oshkosh store.
Yep.
And we're all Justin probably more so than anybody because he had to maintain it. It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
But it was really cool because we had a bunch of smallies in there, and you could actually see them change color.
Yep.
Like you would drop the minnows in there, the dead minnows or whatever, and they would go from real blah, kind of blend into their surroundings, to when it was feeding time, their stripes would pop and they'd get their gills would flare, and it was like go time.
Oh,
like,
really?
You could see it. It's
so
almost
cool. So for me, is like you guys know that for me, I've been experimenting on the smaller scale of trying to raise small like aquarium fish, just because all fish are pretty much the same. I mean, they all have the same habits and everything. And I love but I love this like the zoology behind it and the science behind it. That's what intrigues me.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And so for me is I had one fish. It was a cichlid, so they're closely related to bass. And he was one of those fish where when it was time to feed, what I did is just like in nature, dim the lights, feed top water. They all swim up to the top and they swarm. Well, this fish, the second that would go, I mean, he was the same way as a bass. All of a sudden, he had 3 stripes that would just instantly turn black and a big black spot, and everybody stayed away from him because he was the biggest fish in the tank. Oh. So now what happens in nature is those fish with bass or really any fish, it's just like, an alpha wolf. It's the same deal. They want to show that they're the dominant one, and they get first dibs, and whoever's the biggest, toughest, scariest looking fish is the one that's going to get it.
Every time you put a new fish in your aquarium, there's like a pecking order restructuring, right?
Yep. So basically, I have it structured just like it would be in a crop of basically a crop of river. Like if you took a 20-gallon patch of river with 20 inches of water, that's what I want to replicate for the most part in my one tank. And it's exactly that. You have probably 4 or 5 different species of fish, and there is an absolute pecking order. So if you think about, you're in a river where you've got panfish, bass, northern, whatever, and there's that pecking order. And like I said, it's very small level, so it's just aquarium fish. But I have a beta with other fish, which a lot of people think is wrong, but you can. She is the absolute dominator of the tank, but once that pecking order has been established, she leaves everybody alone because they know that she is the one that gets first dibs on everything. And then there's that pecking order where there's another group of 3 fish that they're the next ones. Yep. And everything goes trickle down from there.
And you'll find that a lot once we get into this tournament fishing thing. Like you'll hear guys start talking about spot on a spot, right? Yep. There is that one premium spot in that area that those fish that relate to that operate exactly the same way Zach's aquarium fish do. Yep. So there's that one dominant fish, which by nature of nature, I guess, is usually the biggest one. Okay. They get that premium spot. Yep. And when that spot, you catch that fish, it's only a matter of time before the next biggest one moves into that almost exact same spot.
And that's the crazy thing is if you say you're going after, I'm trying to think of not really a schooling fish, but think about bass, right? Bass, they tend to hang out together. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's that pecking order. But if you say you pull that fish out of the water and, you get it in the boat, something happened or you hooked it wrong, you kill the fish, whatever. Nobody wants that to happen, but it happens. Now, there's going to be probably a 5-minute period where there's not a pecking order, and then after about 5 minutes, there's going to be a pecking order again, and there's a bigger fish in that spot, just like you said. But it's a lot faster than you think.
And I think on the MLF stuff, I think you'll be able to see that if you really watch the streams. Now, yesterday it's kind of hard because they're on these big hydrilla patches and whatever, but my guess is and I wasn't fishing with them, but my guess is they caught multiple fish out of the same spot, maybe not back-to-back casts. Oh, yeah. But they kind of worked through an area, and then I guarantee if they had a big one there, they probably went back there and at least threw into it again just to see maybe what if.
Somebody moved in.
Right. Yep.
Well, that's like turkeys do the same thing. You shoot a turkey, the other one sits there.
Don't they go after it? Oh,
they beat them up. And deer, I've seen deer do it. I personally have, but I've watched it on TV, on YouTube where, deer do the same thing. It's crazy how nature works like that.
Yep. There's a pecking order
everywhere. Survival of the fittest. Well, that's what this whole thing started from, talking about what fires up a school.
Right.
Survival. Right. That's what fires them up, is survival. Right. If it's go time, I don't want to be the one that didn't eat.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
No, absolutely. So here's my question for us all. Go-to baits. What is your favorite? Like you had said, specializing in a bait, a lot of guys do it, and a lot of times it works because if you know how to fish it, fish are going to bite it. Yep. What's your go-to?
If I had for fishing for anything, no matter
what. Like if you just had one go-to bait, like if I told you had to go fishing right now for whatever, but you only got one rod and one reel and one bait, what would it be?
Number 5 Shad Rap. Okay. Hands down, I would take a perch number 5 Shad Rap. Here's my reasons why. It's small enough bait that almost anything will eat it.
Yep.
I've caught 8-pound walleyes on it. I've caught 12-inch walleyes on it. Anything will eat it. Bass will eat it. Anything eat it. And I'd take a perch because everything eats perch.
Yep.
That's why if I had to have one bait, and I know how to fish it. I've fished it my whole life. I'm really confident in how to fish that lure.
Yeah. Silly question. I mean, I don't know how fish see.
And if anybody knows me, that's been my number one bait forever. I don't fish them anymore because it doesn't really play into the bass world as much. Maybe I should. But if I had to go shore fishing, whatever, that would be it.
So speaking of what's not really working for the bass world, what's going to work for the bass world, I think, once we figure out and we complete our mission of finding gobies in Winnebago, which I'm definitely going to go on a mission for, is fishing with the mega bass gobies. I think in our area, now that these gobies are moving in here and they're becoming that ultimate feeder, I think the fish are going to get bigger because we might have colder water, which sucks for growing fish. But I think the food now is going to help amp that up.
You can tell I fished with Larry for a long time.
Right? Yeah, Nathan says a single.
Yep.
See, I'm in the world where Nathan is. I mean, I like finesse fishing, whether it's panfish, bass. Just throwing something. Being not lazy, but taking my time.
He just asked one. If I only had one lure.
Oh no, I'm not. Yeah.
That would be the one.
And I guess. If I had to pick one, I go back to my middle school, high school days. A buddy of mine introduced me to power baits at the time, and a black 7-inch ribbon tail for the longest time was my go-to bait. And I wouldn't really Texas rig it or anything like that, or put a sinker on it. I'd just throw it and let it sink.
And that's what Nate's talking. That's what
with the sinker. Yeah,
same thing.
But the cool thing is, a lot of the lakes where I live out in Washera County are so crystal clear That it'd be you throw it up to the shallows and you would watch bass just come from 50 feet away and just look at it, suck it in, and then hook. That's
pretty cool.
Right.
I love so my style of fishing has stayed the same. I love wading in like the Little Wolf River for smallmouth bass and shoreline fishing for the smallmouth bass. So I'd have to I've been dabbling a little bit more with the Z-Man.
Yep.
The Ned rigs. Yep.
The Ned rig's pretty phenomenal.
Yep.
If you've never fished a Ned rig, you really need to try it. Like Zach, you really need to fish a Ned rig.
Oh, I know. That's why I'm waiting for the ice to leave, is because I have so many plans and so many things that I want to fish with. But coming full circle, my favorite so far is definitely the Yozuri Rattling Vibe. I'm a lipless crank. I've decided that's my bait. I love lipless cranks. I fish with people that laugh at me and say, you gotta change it up. And I'm like, you know what? My thing is, I'm not here to hammer on fish. I want the one fish that's gonna make my night happy.
Right.
The first, coming from pan fishing my entire life, and then going to a spot right here in town that will remain unnamed and catching the largest walleye somebody's ever pulled out of there that 5 people can confirm they've never seen there, because I had the right presentation for that size of fish. And then the next night getting a night bite on a 26-inch northern, which that's not big, but a night bite in that spot, that's almost unheard of.
Yep.
And I got the fish that I was after, and I was happy. Now, of course, if you're out to get quantity, maybe you disagree.
Right.
But I like those. I like that one fish is going to make my day. That's how I fish. I want that one fish.
Tony says
get
his
happy.
favorite would be a frog.
Frog. Yeah, for bassing.
Well, it's because he's a bass head,
Yeah,
right?
he's a bass.
Right.
Yep.
That was my thing, though. If I was fishing for any fish on the planet,
Right.
Yep.
it would be that shit.
So I have somebody that's close to my family that I haven't talked to, and I don't think my family's really talked to in a long time, that I want to get a hold of so we can go film videos on his property. He has a bass pond, like this little,
nice.
like 50 yards bass pond. Thing is stocked full of just absolute pigs. And
Please, can we go, please?
no, like
That would
literally,
just be awesome.
it's funny because talking about frogs that's the only place I've ever been able to actually fish with a frog. Because for me not having a boat up until this year and not really paying attention to species
We'll get
fishing.
on some good topwater stuff this year.
Right, I'm excited for it. But at that lake, what we used to do, or that pond, we used to catch like the pickerel frogs and everything, and you'd take the frog, and as awful as it sounds, you'd throw it out there, and it wouldn't even touch the water.
Yep.
It would, I don't know how they can see that there's a frog flying through the air, but it would go through there, and smallies, largemouth, just boom.
Their eyes are kind of on the top of their head.
Well, and I don't think they know it's a frog, and they're just like, that could be a meal, and all of a sudden that thing hits the water, then it starts swimming then it blows.
It's insane though. But I mean, the fish that you pull out of there, I can vaguely remember, because I was never bass fishing up until this fall. But I remember that's the only time I ever fished for bass.
Yep.
And the bass that I pulled out as a kid were stuff that these guys in tournaments would wish they were catching around here.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So-
That's for those Googing Squad guys.
Yeah,
a lot of the
that's-
YouTube
yeah.
guys,
That's-
they're fishing ponds most of the time.
So
anyway.
what was up with that link you said? Did you send us the link because that guy was pissed that they were catching that fish?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think what that was, it was some guy was all crazy because these kids were
He
fishing.
said it was a private lake.
And there is private lakes.
Yeah,
If it was
but-
privately owned, but they said they knew somebody on the lake. I don't know,
if-
whatever. I actually
Right.
sent it to you because I thought you should check those guys out for an affiliate.
Oh, okay. It was typical Brian fashion. You just send us something, and I watch it, and I'm like, okay, I'm not sure what he means by
No, it was because they had a bunch of subscribers.
my
YouTube.
argument.
Right.
I don't remember the name of the. I don't remember the name
I
of
don't either.
the video, but they were fishing a lake in Illinois. They were catching fish. A guy came off, got all mad at him, said he was calling the cops and all that stuff.
And they were letting everything go.
Yeah, they were letting but the point of and I've seen a couple of videos like this. Now that there's more people trying to do YouTube, people are like, I don't want to be in your videos. Now you're blowing this spot up.
Yep.
But my argument, if these guys were legit catching fish in a spot where they knew they could be, why'd they leave? If they said they had permission, why are they bailing?
Right.
So part of me
Well,
thinks,
I think some of that, it could have been that. I think the guys who were in the video were younger.
yeah. So,
So, even if you feel like you're right and that older, because the other guy was an older gentleman.
older gentleman, yep.
Even if you feel like you're right, are you really going to try to put
Right.
your foot
It's-
down when
yeah,
you're 20-something years old?
Yeah,
I mean, you're just not
where
gonna
does
do
it where does it come down to? But yeah, that's the part that I took from it. I'm like, if you just said you have permission to be here,
Right.
then don't
Right.
leave.
But see, that's where you got it. That's where I was so excited about the MLF thing. Is these are the best of the best fishing in just public open water.
Yep.
Where you watch a lot of stuff on YouTube, and I'm not going to pass up an opportunity to go to some stocked bass pond. Right?
No,
That'd just be
no,
awesome.
no.
But a lot of the videos you see on YouTube, like Ted, I mean, these guys, they made a career out of fishing stocked ponds.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not knocking them. That's great. They're helping people learn how to fish, whatever. But you do need to kind of justify a little bit of who you're listening to. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah,
I
it
feel
does.
the same way about some guys on hunting shows.
Yep.
Like, you know, there's certain guys in the hunting world that I will listen to because I feel like they really know what they're talking about.
Right.
Right. And then there's, I don't want to name names, but there's certain guys that I really feel like this guy could go somewhere by himself and he could harvest the best animal in that area.
Yep.
Then there's certain guys who all they talk about is what outfitter they're with, and they're not even doing it. All they do is go sit up in some stand that outfitter hung.
Right.
You know, I was watching. I don't even remember what hunting show it was, and I think I might have told you the story. But they were talking about the Milk River out in Montana, right? And these guys went through this whole big spiel about how they scouted this area and they picked out this tree and they went through this whole big spiel, right?
Yep.
Okay, fine. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. Then I'm watching this, and here comes 140. And then here comes a 145. And then a 150 comes.
Yep.
Walking on the exact same trail right past this tree that they scouted really hard. I'm like, these dudes are like the best scouters on the planet. So the guy sticks a 140 incher or whatever. Yep. After that deer comes another like 160 to 180s. I'm like, I call bullshit right now.
Yep. Right.
Well, that's exactly it. Like, you remember the old hunting DVDs? You know, I'm okay with that, but it's got to be in this specific circumstance that I'm about to say, okay? That's when you get the NASCAR driver or the football player where they bring him in to have that guy specifically hunt a spot to go, get a big deer. But when you build an entire show around how great of a hunter you are, but all you do is have a guide point you in the direction to kill the deer,
I got a problem
that's when
fundamentally I got a problem.
Boring. Yes. Well, so I know somebody whose family owns, like a deer farm where you pay thousands of dollars to go and harvest a deer, and I look at that. That's that instant gratification of our society now. Is if you have the money, well, I can go, kill this giant deer. I'm like, you basically just went to the store and bought that deer.
We had a customer come in. I think we put new strings and cables on his bow, and he guides for a place out by me.
Sure.
And he was saying that some of these guys would show up. They still have price tags and stickers on their gear.
Right.
And a lot of them, it's just a time to have a little fun.
Yep.
They don't really care if they shoot a deer, which, I mean, it's your money. You spend it however you want. But then they'll go shoot whatever they're shooting in a pen, and they're how do you feel confident? It's like finding a roadkill. You know, like, I'm guilty. I have.
Yep. We've all been there.
Did you ever see that video?
We've all been
but
there.
I would never, ever claim that deer to be mine.
But did you see the video? There's a guy, it's on YouTube, that he did a video of the standard, like, post-hunt interview with a roadkill deer.
Oh, did he?
Oh, my God. It's hilarious.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to try
we
to
should
find
definitely
that.
do that sometime. See, we live in Wisconsin where we find roadkill every day.
He's like, there's this deer and he's down behind. He's like kneeling on next to the highway.
Yeah.
Some ways are buzzed and he's like, I'd like to take my Matthews.
Oh, nice.
He was just going to the whole spiel. It's awesome.
I think the funniest thing is, so I had this experience growing up. I used to live out by Larson, and so there was deer hit all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And one day I was sitting there looking out my window, just observing. We had a bunch of bird feeders and stuff. I was looking at the birds, and all of a sudden this Dodge Caravan comes flying by my house, and right in front of my house, a deer jumps out from the woods on my property line. In front of it, hits it, flies back into my lawn, and lands there. And I've always wanted to think, like, if you came across like a fresh accident where the car is still there, maybe there's some pieces missing, and it's a buck taking the antlers, throwing it on an antler mount, and then instead of everyone puts that shotgun shell that that broadhead on the mount.
Hood of your car?
Yeah, you put like a little piece of the car,
like your broken headlight or something.
Or like etch it nice and wood burn Dodge Caravan.
Dodge Caravan 12. Yeah.
Jeez.
No, I mean, I can't remember what I was gonna say, but it's have a little gall and don't be outlandish sometimes. I don't know where I was going with that. But
Good job.
I know, right?
It's Monday.
It's Monday.
It's Monday.
It's Monday. So
all right.
okay, so
let's recap here a little bit.
Yep,
So
TRS Live first. Talk about
TRS
the promo.
Live.
We got
right?
about 5 minutes.
Got about 5 minutes to get online.
Yep.
TRS Live, save 10%.
Yep.
Check out. Strikers on sale, 30% off.
30%
Which
off.
is a great deal, by
an
the way.
insane deal.
And
In stock only.
In
correct?
stock only. Yep.
We're not special ordering stuff.
And that we do have boots, gloves, hats, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
We had a lot of striker this year, so we've got almost everything left.
Yeah.
In a lot of good sizes. So it's
Yep.
not just the quadruple X's
Plus
and stuff.
Right.
pretty much everything ice fishing is on sale.
Yep.
So we got Battle on Bago coming up, which I think we're going to be out filming for Battle on Bago.
Hope so.
So you might see us running
Yep.
around.
We'll get out tomorrow. If any of you guys watching this too, you see us out filming and these bowling, and stop and say hi.
Say hi.
Matter, I might have a present for you.
Oh, speaking of that, it was really cool. So we had our basketball games this weekend in Wild Rose, And I walk into one of our gyms and I look and there's a Real Shot hat.
Nice. I love that.
So we had always talked about, let's
Mm-hmm.
reward somebody for where I luckily had a business card with me.
Right.
Walked up to it. It's a kid that's from Amherst. He's sponsored by the Real Shot, their bass club.
For the
It's
bass club. Yep.
So I told him, I said, you know what? I know you guys are already, because I asked him, where'd you get your hat from? Playing dumb at first. And he said, well, Real Shot sponsors, and I'm like, oh, cool. Here's my card. Reach out to me, which you already did. I got to get back to him. I told him I
love it when
something
kids
special
do
for
that.
him. Yeah.
I love it when a kid, I'm assuming he's a younger kid if
Yep.
he's fishing in high school, but I love when a kid takes the initiative and you said, hey, reach out to me, and they actually do it.
Yeah, he did it
Right.
away
In
this
today's
morning.
society, they're so lazy.
I said, maybe I'll
love
get him a
that.
gift card or, a promo. Or
Absolutely.
I
Hook
know,
'em up.
let's talk. I'm like, heck yeah. So that's a good thing for people to know. Like, we're out and about all over the
And
place.
it's going to get more and more now once
Right.
the weather breaks and we can get out.
If represent. And if I know, I'm going to make sure I have more business cards with me.
Right.
But we're gonna try to find people. We're gonna try to go out of our way to find you.
go out of your way and make sure we see you.
But that's the other thing
Because
too.
I
Is
don't
like
really
when,
care.
even on the
However
weekends
it
and
is.
whatnot.
Yeah.
Like for us and some of the other guys is for when we get my boat up and running and we're out on the water every weekend. If you see that thing, which you'll definitely know what boat it is if you see us out there because it's obnoxious, but come and say hi.
Say hi.
Unless you see us catching a million fish on your way over, please don't bother us.
Yeah.
Right.
But if we're just cruising along down the river and you notice who we are, come say hi.
Say hi.
We might have stuff for you. In fact, I'm going to carry merchandise on my boat
Yeah.
just so if I run into people.
Well,
Well, and I think the other thing too is like you asked that comment, does social media impact fisheries or whatever? I have the same take on us doing fishing promo videos like we're going
Right.
to do on the water this summer, as I told the guys with the Wisco Bass, is I'm not in the business of giving away spots.
Right.
Like guys like OB Outdoors, some of those guys, they want to try to help people go actually to a physical spot and catch more fish, and more power to them. I
Right.
don't care.
Right.
That's just not my thing.
Yep.
Right.
If we're fishing, I think one thing that I'm excited for is fishing just like the public fishing spots that everyone knows about and showing that there's still fish in those spots. You just got to know how to fish
what
them.
you're gonna
But
realize,
when we're-
like if we're in a channel pan fishing,
Oh, right.
there will be owners that aren't real happy that we're filming in their channel.
Right.
Right.
Right. So I'm not talking about giving away the channel.
Absolutely
I don't really
not.
care. I don't want to give away the channel. I want to take
No.
my kids there and catch fish. Like I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. Right. I totally understand the whole spots impact of social media, and I do think it
Right.
plays a big role.
yeah.
But I'm going to play devil's advocate because I'm that type of guy. If you get like some dudes do ice fishing where you walk within 100 yards of their tip up and they stare you down for an hour and a
Oh,
half. If we're out fishing public waters and, we're going to fish it and you can't be mad at us because
Well,
it's public.
and realistically, we're gonna get somebody's gonna chew my. I get it all the time,
Yep.
right?
Right.
I've had it numerous times, and I try to be really respectful of people.
Right.
Or
Well, you
whatever.
have to.
But
at the end of the
sometimes-
day-
sometimes people just don't give a you know what,
Right.
and they're just going to be crappy for whatever reason they got
Right.
going on in their own deals.
Well, and that's what the hardest part about for me is obviously this marketing role and the media role that we've helped take over. For me, it's like I don't want to pick up my phone and film when I'm trying to catch some fish. It's not often we get a chance to get out at times, and I'm part of. Then I'm like, yeah, but you're not doing your job.
Well, if it's Saturday with your kids, fish, dude.
But it's a fine balance because
Right.
that's why it's
GoPro chest mount.
Yep.
Just have that. Don't even touch your phone. Just let it roll.
Even yesterday, making all that jerky, I'm like, what a better segment or what better content. And then I'm like, but my hands full of meat and all this kind of stuff. It's
Right.
it's a hard
It's
balance.
not easy.
that's
It's
why
a hard
that's why
balance.
we've got Zach.
Right.
Right.
That's why you're supposed to
Yeah,
call
but
me
I'm
and be like,
supposed to-
hey,
yeah, yeah.
hey, come over. It might be 9
Drive
o'clock.
to Wild
but-
Rose.
Come on, buddy. Come on out. There's jerky here. So
He probably would make the
I
drive
hear
for
hear
jerky.
free jerky and I'm like, all right, I'm
Yeah,
on my way.
yeah.
Shoes are on, hats on. Like,
Isn't that crazy though? Like, I think about how much meat it took me to make the 7 pounds. Well, 7 pounds of meat it took,
Yep.
but I mean, it was like a huge heaping bowl, and I get like 2 1-gallon bags of meat out of it. It's like that's just, but it lasts literally like 30 seconds once you crack open a bag because that
Yep.
stuff is just addicting, and you don't eat it that much. That's why we're gonna.
That's
try to
why I
get ahead of
don't
the
eat
game.
beef jerky from the stores because I just look at it like dollar signs every time I take a bite.
Oh,
where I'm like,
yeah.
oh, this $8
It's
bag.
also salty too.
Yeah.
Stuff from the
There's
store.
some good stuff out there, but
But-
yeah, it's
We'll
like,
have a whole nother show on jerky.
yeah. So wrapping it up. So striker sale Wednesday. We're gonna have TJ back on from the MLF. And he's gonna be heading over to the
Can we
elite.
get some like cheer crowding sound effects.
Well, I literally had to stop and look at it up there, and I don't know. It might have a little case of
get it.
dyslexia or something. I don't know, but so he's going to be talking. He's heading over to the Bassmaster Elites.
Yep,
Is that
on
how you
St.
want to say
John's
that?
River, yep.
And then we're going to be going out doing some scouting tomorrow. So
yeah.
Put some miles on my truck tomorrow.
Perfect. So yeah, make sure Wednesday 10 o'clock, and then we're back again Friday. I think Friday we kind of touched on. We're gonna have maybe Justin in, and he's gonna talk about
awesome.
sturgeon spearing.
Okay, cool.
Awesome.
He's
not. We got to get his wife in here though. She's
yeah,
the sturgeon spearer.
she's the one that's got.
So
it.
if Jess watches this, I don't know how we can get her here Friday because she works. Obviously, she's got a job.
Yep.
But she's the sturgeon spearer of those two.
Yeah,
so
we'll try to have.
Don't let Justin be fooling you. He just does all the, he does a lot of talking, but she's the real sturgeon spearer.
Okay. All right. Well, then Justin's not going to be on the show.
No,
We're
I'm
gonna
okay.
have-
I'm
I know.
just kidding.
So yeah, we're kind of kick off the weekend of sturgeon spearing, and I don't know. It's going to be a good upcoming week. And if you haven't stopped into the store lately and shot a Hoyt, because we're now a Hoyt dealer among Matthews, Bowtech, Prime, Elite. If you can't find a bow at the Real
Oh
Shot,
my God.
you ain't looking hard enough.
I've said this for a really long time because it took us a while to get these big brands in here, right? We had to sell the Matt Trues of the world and why he should do business with the Real Shot. And it took a couple years to do that.
Yep.
We had to build a brand. And I was standing up there this morning. We got Hoyt and Bowtech and Matthews, and I told Mark, I said, not to toot my own horn, but I told you we get them. It was just kind of an awesome deal,
Yeah.
right? I'm like, I knew it was going to happen. I didn't know when.
Right.
As much as we tried to burn him on Friday, he always had a rebuttal true about like, oh, it took you long enough. Well, I'm like, nah, I just wanted to be like, dude,
You're over here like, fight me.
yeah. I was like, we're almost like you almost missed this opportunity, and it is an opportunity
I think so.
for everybody.
Well, I mean, realistically, just looking at the numbers and the behind-the-scenes work that's going into the Real Shot as a whole versus other competitors, let's face it, the industry is kind of it's growing, but it's growing in a way where the guys who are realistically that are half-assing it, they're not making it. They're out.
Well, I think
and when
we're
those
taking
guys
a whole
fall
different
off,
stance on the outdoors.
Right.
Obviously, we're putting a lot into the show.
Yep.
Right.
Into the content. You do get that from some other stores, but it's not
Right.
it's not the organic content.
it's the old school guys that aren't keeping up with the times that are going to fail, and
Yep.
it's sad to see them go.
And
because
unfortunately, we're witnessing that. I mean,
Right.
there's been multiple bow shops in the area that have gone.
and it's sad because
and it's,
as a store, you don't ever want to see anybody fail. But at the end of the day, it's good for us because you just lost all those customers and are going to probably come here.
Well,
we're friendly. We're
Yeah.
a friendly staff.
I was
Definitely.
talking about this with my wife on the way home yesterday because we were driving home from Minocqua, and I said, we went through past the Gander Outdoors in Wausau.
Oh, yeah.
And I made a comment about how the Gander in Appleton shut down.
Right.
And I said it kind of felt good because they
Right.
shut down and then they reopened and then they shut down again. And I said, I have to believe that we were part of that conversation,
You got it.
which I think
Right.
is a feather in the cap, right? I
Well,
mean, maybe not, but I have to believe that there was a conversation in some boardroom with Gander Outdoors and Camping World,
Yep.
Yep.
and the Real Shot was mentioned as a part of the reason why that store is not as viable as it used to be. And I
Right.
maybe I'm 100% wrong,
Yeah.
but I'm going to choose to be positive about
Well,
it. and that
I'll
makes me
put it
feel
this
good.
way: the second we introduce you around hunting into the new store section, I mean, now we've just become your legitimate one-stop shop. There's
Yep.
no excuse. I
And
mean,
that's-
we stock the best stuff. We stock fairly priced things. I mean, there's absolutely no excuse. We're
It's
gonna
a-
have everything you're gonna ever
Our
want.
selection is gonna get better every single year, and that's not a lie. That's a fact.
Right.
I mean, the areas of stuff where we at once hesitated, can we sell this? It's not a gamble anymore because it's going to sell.
Right.
And for people that don't shop for our online presence, it's huge.
Right.
And it's getting better. Like,
Yep.
I mean, we're trying to get on different avenues. I
Well,
mean,
we've got full-time people now. We've got you guys full-time just helping market and do these things.
Right.
We've got full-time people now just putting products on the website.
Yep.
I mean, even a year ago, that didn't exist.
Right.
And that's the customer base has allowed us to do that
Yes.
because of the sales, which
Yep.
has been awesome. But it's I mean, we've never had that before. We've
Right.
never had. I mean, we went from 8 people who basically started the business with me to now almost 20 people
Right.
in the last 6 months.
well,
Right.
and I look at like
and that's 100% because of the customers giving us their time and obviously their dollars and trusting us to help outfit them to have fun in the outdoors. So
Well, and
that's
I'm
awesome.
reading these comments here from like Tony and Larry, and obviously, those guys are, they love the Real Shot, and we love them for being so supportive
absolutely.
of us.
Yep.
But I think it's awesome when somebody comes in, and it's to me after working here for so long, it's still surprising that people don't know we exist.
Yep.
And then when they find out, they drive by and they're like, I drive by this road every single day. I had no clue what
our
this
number
place
one
was.
problem for years was marketing.
Yep.
And it was a hard thing for me because how do you justify spending money on non-revenue generating, directly revenue generating? Obviously, marketing is revenue generating, but you've got to spend a lot of money with a Fox 11 or whatever in hopes. Dear God, please people show up and buy stuff, right? Where I wanted to take that money and put it into assortments and put it into staff and put it into I mean, I feel like we've assembled a pretty damn good group of individuals here, both behind the scenes and on the floor.
Yes, I agree.
From a knowledge base, I've always said this, I'd love to have some sort of an outdoors tournament against other big retailers.
That would be awesome.
Mano y mano.
Put a team together.
Like some kind of like big like retail sports Olympics or whatever, right? Like take your best guys against my best guys. I will clean the floor with you.
That's awesome.
Right? Like a shoot off. And right?
That would be.
So if anybody watching works for any of the local retailers,
let's do it.
Reach out to us with your best guys, and we're going to
Right?
put together an archery tournament and a fishing tournament.
I think it would be monstrous. We
And
always
just see
talk
what
about
happens.
it doing it in store, like a fishing tournament in store.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine like getting guys
don't
like
wanna make
Ty and
anybody
you.
cry.
Yeah,
Well-
Ty and you and Justin.
So I just want to tie something in, especially being a fresh face around here, just so that people on the outside, they don't know what goes on behind the scenes or how people are at the shop. This is the first time I've worked at a place where you see people absolutely dedicated to the brand, but also to the job because of the support that comes with it.
Yep.
There's no disconnect. Brian, you're here. From what I've seen, you are here pretty much every day from bright and early, before dawn sometimes, all the way through the night, 15, 16 hours later, and then you go home.
Yep.
You're not out of touch.
Try
And
not to be. I'm not on the floor, but I'm always here.
but you're not out of touch with what's going on. And I see the people, no matter what role they play is on social media. It's always, helping out, talking about TRS, talking about things going on around the store, helping support that when they don't have to be.
Yep.
And it's just something you don't find if somebody's working at one of the big box retailers for, $8 an hour on the floor stocking shelves. I'm pretty sure they don't care, and they're there because they have to be.
Do you want to know my opinion where all that starts from? Good morning. Where have you ever worked when you walk in, everybody says good morning to everybody?
Right.
That's true.
Literally, you walk in the door and you don't see a face, but from every office you hear a chime.
Good morning.
But
Yeah.
see, now subliminally, you've worked here for a while now,
Yep.
but subliminally you just started doing it.
Yep.
Because that's my big thing has always been everybody's got crap.
Yep.
Right? Everybody's there. I'm not saying home life's crap, but kids,
Right.
stressors all over the place,
Life's,
bad driving to work,
Right.
whatever. What's the better way to, somebody says good morning, what do you come back with?
Right.
I mean, it's pretty hard to come back with something negative
Right.
when the first
Right.
thing I say to you is good morning, Zach, every day, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's a pretty hard thing to do.
Yep.
But that's where it all comes from.
This is honestly the first job I've ever had, and I've had a few. Not like getting fired, but obviously as you go through high school and stuff, you take a couple jobs. But anyways, like where in the morning I wasn't thinking about excuses of how not to go to work.
But that's.
You ever have that, like where you wake up at a job like you're just like,
Yep.
Do you want to?
I did that for 3 years straight.
Yeah,
Do you want a dad moment? That's because this is a career, not a job.
that's true.
Yep.
Big difference.
It is.
As soon as you go from having a career from a job to a career,
Yep.
all of a sudden work becomes fun
Right.
because you are where you're supposed to be.
And you're investing in your future, but also the future of the
a
people
job
around
is
you.
a job. A job pays the bills. A career is something that you're helping build to
Yes.
obviously enhance your own life.
Right.
Yep.
But you are enhancing the lives of everybody else around you, which is why I think when people walk in the door, they feel that.
They feel that way. We get referred to as like cheers a lot because Mark and I, we always worked hard to know every single person as best we could when they walked through the door, and I always took pride in that. And like customer relations is like, holy man, is it lunchtime already?
It must be.
Yeah.
I just saw Lance walk by, but like I as a salesman for a while or an account manager, knowing the homeowner and knowing like their kids' names and all that stuff or what their dog's name, when people feel good about that, because when they walk in here, it's a personal level. We ask you, hey, how was your weekend? I heard you were doing this or you said you had that going on, and people are like, no freaking way.
I never wanted an environment where anybody felt estranged by walking in.
Right.
If you walk into a lot of outdoor shops or a lot of other archery pro shops, for sure, if you're not one of the good old boys, they scowl at you.
Right.
I never understood that.
No.
I don't. Why? Like what?
So
I mean, even if it was 100%, even if our reason was 100% strictly motivated by selling stuff,
right.
it's still the right thing to do.
Right.
Now, we don't obviously operate like that because it's just not how we are, but I never understood how you coming in and me alienating you by just growling at you is going to make you want to buy something.
I've had
What?
that.
Well, think about it.
understood
Think about
it.
it for me is that, for me, for the past 3 years, coming from, besides a little bit of media,
you-
but I came from what?
Were you good? Go ahead and say it.
Oh, I coming from car sales.
Yeah, I was
every
waiting for it.
time. Well, coming from
We're
car
gonna
sales,
play a drinking game one time with Zach.
Every time
he
he brings
says
up
car
car
sales,
sales.
you have to drink.
only if we can play too.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Video
no,
goes south
but
real
like you
fast.
think about
Sometimes
this
we'd
is
be drunk by noon.
that's not no just kidding.
Yeah.
But no, what I was gonna say though is like in that environment, every dealership that I worked for in that time period was I would say the one that happened in the middle was a great environment. It wasn't the best, but it was great. But at the other dealerships I worked for, it was frat house mentality, and like you walked in there, and if you weren't doing the best job in the world, which there never really was a best job, you're always doing bad in their eyes. You were treated like absolute garbage, and there was like they downed on you to the point where you didn't want to do your job anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm not coming out to say that there's all businesses suck.
No,
There's a
not
lot
at
of-
all.
It's America. We're founded on
But-
great businesses and good leaders, and there's a lot of really, really good businesses. I just
Right.
feel like in our industry,
Yep.
this is something that sets us apart.
Definitely. Well, that's exactly what I was getting at. Is like, and around here, I mean, name a business, especially that's growing as rapidly as we are, that still has a holiday sit-down lunch or dinner together.
That's
You know what I mean? Where we just
That really tweaked me out a little bit.
Yeah, I felt for you. I even thought it got a little.
I just
long
sit in
after
like,
a
oh,
while.
there's 20 people in there. I'm paying for all these people. Like, how can we go back to work now? No, I totally get it. It was.
Yeah,
good.
it
I'm
was
just-
no, but
But there was a part of the business numbers guy who was like,
Right.
oh my god, this is killing me right now.
right.
So,
But at the end of the day, though, I mean, that's what makes it special. Is like not only are the employees more so like family to each other, but so are our customers.
Yep.
Our customers come in, and especially if you're a regular and you treat us, in that aspect, that we've become a staple in your outdoors life.
Well,
we're going to treat you the
and
same way.
And if anybody doubts that, I dare you. I'm challenging you to just read through our reviews.
Right.
Now, there's some bad ones out there.
Everyone has them.
Some of the bad ones are comical though.
But like,
yeah.
seriously, I mean, like, I think our ratings are like 4.5 stars,
4.3.
4.3
Yep.
stars.
4.3.
not that I pay attention.
But seriously, like, and then for those who are regulars, if you read a negative comment, honestly think to yourself, be like, I don't. Everybody, like you said, everybody has them, but
Right.
I think we talked about it one time. I would love to see a real shot loyal look at one of those negative comments and just tell that person to business. You know,
Right.
because we don't. For those who enjoy their times in here, we don't operate that
well,
way.
the negative people in society, the negative people are always going to try to bring everybody.
They try to
down.
get a rise.
yeah,
That's just what it is.
Because it's really it comes down to social media and the attention that you get, because it's no different than it's 1955 and Gladys is talking about to her 10 friends at their
Right.
brunch about things. Now
Right.
it's I can tell 36,000 people that I had a 5-second
Right.
bad experience that didn't
It
really
goes,
happen.
It goes right back to the hunting thing.
Yep.
You need to hunt for you,
right.
Yep.
right? We run the business. I don't like the negative reviews. They're real. I mean,
Oh yeah, nobody
Right.
does.
we reply to all of them.
Yep.
And I've never had anybody with a negative review. We reply to all of them basically the same way, right? Sorry this happened. Can you please give me more information? I'd like to make this right. What was it? How can we fix it? Whatever. I've never had a single one of those people reply.
Right.
Like, if it was so bad and you just hate life that much, why can't you tell me what was bad so that I can try to help fix
Try
it?
to make
'Cause
it right.
I truly would try to help fix it.
Well, and everybody would like to know.
All
you know,
right.
if you're calling people out or you had such a because most of them you could track back to a day where if you worked or you didn't work, and then you're like, well, now you just kind of made everybody have a bad day because now one person, like you said about saying good morning, makes you feel good. Now it's that effect of like now you're mad because somebody said something bad about you. Now I get mad because you're mad, and it just kind of it spreads throughout the day.
I
So
agree.
you track it back, and you're like, really? I mean, yeah, everybody has bad days, and I'm not saying you're not allowed to have a bad day, but check it at the door. Come here, put your time in, make sure everybody has an enjoyable experience, and then go
Right.
home and just grab that bad day on the way out and
That's when you shoot your ball.
shoot your boat,
Makes you
catch a
feel better.
fish. Yeah,
And I'm going to say something a little edgy, but it's something that I learned from Are You Ready for a Drink? Because it's something I learned from car sales. But it's you know what?
I took a step too soon. Now go for it.
Okay, so with car sales,
Oh yeah.
with car sales, we got to do it
That's
again.
this water.
We
That's this water.
You learn that those negative people though, the ones that are leaving the crazy reviews, are the ones who are being absolute just unreasonable. Those are the people that, you know what? I mean, we're going to sell to the 99% that love us, and the 1% that are going to get mad at us about nothing. I mean, we're not actually losing out that much. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want that ever. But at the end of the
we want everybody
day,
to be happy. But I think any business owner, anybody that works sales or retail, knows you can't make everybody happy.
Right. It's impossible.
As much as you possibly can. And, you know, sometimes you look at it, does that person really need to go above and beyond? But yeah, you do.
Right.
You honestly do, and to the point where you just can't. You just look at it and you're like, all right, I can't make you happy, Dr. Evil. There's no pleasing you, you know, type of thing. Where
all he wanted was sharks with laser beams.
all I wanted was sharks with laser
I mean,
beams.
how hard is that? Just sharks with laser beams. All right.
I do have to give a shout out. My dad's watching. He said we got to challenge Bill.
One of the TV
Jarts.
stations. He said.
Yeah, there you go. So Bill Jarts, if you're watching this ever.
I don't think Bill Jarts cares.
You know, he's from like Clintonville or something.
He?
Yeah,
Nice.
That's pretty cool. So, anyways, let's wrap this up. It's getting to be long.
I was gonna say we have this habit, like, you know, when you're trying to leave like your
Yeah,
parents,
yeah,
your
yeah,
in-laws' house, and you're like,
Yeah.
all right, guys, I'm walking out the door. Bye. You
Peace.
get to the door, and then an hour later
I
you
know.
leave. That's how we
know.
get.
Yeah,
which is okay. I mean, we have
just
a
need to
good
start-
conversation.
We've got a lot of good topics. We've got to start just somehow figuring how to table it till next time. It's just not easy for us.
It's not. We talk too much.
Yeah.
That's not really a problem on radio or
That's
talk
why I
shows.
wanted this whole thing to begin with, because I knew this is just how it is around here all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Wait till we have a
try to capitalize on it.
bitch fest. You know.
All right.
One
we
more
haven't had
cat.
one of those yet.
No, we haven't.
I'm waiting.
Let's get there.
We'll get there.
It'll happen.
All right, cool. So Wednesday, more talking on bass fishing.
Yep. TJ will be here live.
Sturgeon spearing talk Thursday with maybe Justin and Jess Munt.
I think it would be really cool if anybody that watches this that is going to sturgeon spear and would like us to come out. Maybe we could go out
Yeah.
Saturday or Sunday and
film.
film for a little bit in your shack, or
For sure.
Good
kind
call.
of fun.
I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, Justin's so secretive. He won't let anybody anywhere near him.
No.
Right.
Well, I mentioned, I'm like, so Zach and I are probably going to be out on Bago, you know, for the battle. Is it okay if Zach comes with you? Why? I'm like, because part of it is you work here.
See, we're gonna get out there and we're gonna call and be like, hey, Justin, where are you? He's like, I'm at home on my couch.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah.
That's not your shack about 20 feet to my right.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it? No,
Are you
that's
sure
not it.
Are you sure that's not you?
I'm looking at. I'm outside right now. It says
Yeah.
Justin on it.
I'm knocking on your door.
Yeah.
I can hear me knocking on your phone.
Oh no, that's the mail. They need to meet a sign.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah.
It's a Sunday, Justin.
Sunday, right.
All right, guys. Well,
sounds good.
let's wrap her up, guys.
Yep.
Man, 2 hours and 5 minutes.
Oh, jeez. We gotta
Crazy.
knock that off. It's
Hey,
fun, though.
but we
Yeah,
held
it is.
over 10 people
Well,
the whole time. So.
for those who can't see, we know when we've gone a little too long.
Like
when
people
see-
start going to
people
lunch.
start going to lunch. We're like, ugh.
We're like, wait, we started at 10 and you're going
Going to lunch?
McDonald's right now.
Yeah, bring us something.
Huh.
Cool.
All right. So remember, guys, if you're watching, like, share, follow us on here on Facebook. Go to Instagram. Follow us at TRS Outdoors. YouTube, you'll be able to view all of these videos and everything else we do whenever you feel like it at The Real Shot on YouTube. Make sure you guys are following us. We've got a lot of cool stuff coming down the pipeline, especially more and more as the ice moves out and we're going to get back on the open water and back in the woods. So keep an eye out for all that. Remember, TRS Live during our shows Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We have the TRS Live promo going. That's 10% off. Everything we can give you 10% off on in the store, we're going to try and give that to you. So that's there.
And we're gonna probably do more gift cards.
Yeah,
We're gonna give away
I think
more.
people like that. So
Yep.
that's definitely another one. I think more for our bigger shows. We're going to start doing all that.
Yep.
So there's definitely benefits to watch. That's for sure. So, again, thanks everybody for watching, and we will see you next time.
See you Wednesday.
Wednesday.
See you Wednesday.
Thank you.